Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, the wrestling podcast where we review every segment of Raw and give you guys the wrestling news of the week. If you're asking what my name is, then you obviously haven't watched any of our previous episodes. My name is Turbo Tony and we're here with the Bullfighter, Ole, Los Matt,
no.
Adores.
No, I will not accept this.
No, you won't take that, no? Okay. I just thought because it had Matt Adores in there, I could get away with it.
No, that doesn't justify it.
Okay.
Just no.
Not as good
the
as
fact
big...
that they were on Raw was insulting.
Not even the fact that you were a big, sexy Kevin Matt last week. I couldn't get away with that this week.
That's fine. I'll blow out a quad every day. But I'm not going to go Ole.
Okay, no problem. So, how are you doing this week, Matt?
Very good. And yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. I was sick just coming onto this. I thought I'd come on and be like, but I seem to have improved. So... you guys get your audio goodness.
Podcast.
Yeah. Before we begin, I want to say a big thank you to everyone that made the 50th episode our biggest episode in terms of numbers, likes, comments, the whole shebang. Thank you very much for doing that. We got a small eruption of new subscribers, so obviously you found the podcast through the 50th episode, and welcome for the ride. You know.
How could we not love it?
Exactly. If you would like to follow us on Twitter, you can follow us at TalkWrestlePod, and we'll be talking about. Matt will tweet his the news going around and his brief thoughts on that. It's a very quick way to get in contact with himself, or you can either comment down below, which I know a lot of our subscriber base have taken to doing and asking us questions on a weekly basis, so that's cool. But either or, plenty of avenues to get in contact with us there. We've got another packed show this week, Matt. We've got lots to talk about.
I know.
Yeah. We've got our wrestling news to start off. Fan feedback, as usual, fail of the week. We review every segment of Raw, and there's plenty of talking points about this week's Raw, revolving around the cover of this week's episode, Mr. Ryback. Interesting that we would be talking about him again after all this time. And afterwards, to this day, this week, 9 years ago was tragically where Eddie Guerrero passed away. So we're going to use our topic of the week to talk about him specifically. It's not a superstar spotlight. It's going to be more laid back, us remembering Eddie, favourite matches and moments from his career, and just going along those lines. I've been spending the last few days watching Eddie Guerrero tribute videos. I cannot guarantee to you guys that I will refrain from crying on this episode, because those things are just heart pulling.
It's tough, man. I couldn't help, but I had to share that one that you posted up, and I was just like, oh, I don't like that.
Yeah, that's just, it makes me feel, man. I don't want to feel. Make me numb.
Why the feels?
Yeah. So we may as well get along right through it. You guys are desperate for wrestling talk. That's why you came here on this show, and we will give that to you in the droves in this episode. And we've got a few juicy bits of news this week. One that me and Matt have already talked about, but we'll go into that in a little bit. But the first one you guys may have already heard. It's made the rounds in the news. Not so much on WWE's side, but the fact that 2 people from their roster have been moved to the alumni section, which is a decent precursor for the fact that they have been released.
Yeah.
Me and Matt, we do a lot of research for this podcast. We knew releases were coming. It was rumoured that they were going to be making at very least a few more cuts. And there's a list of, say, about 10, 15 people on the roster at the moment that I would say you would have to be very, very worried about your job. And these 2 people, I would put on that list,
Yeah.
Well,
the thing is, considering... sorry. I don't remember the last time we saw one of them.
Yes. Well, I remember seeing Great Khali, who was the first one who was released.
Yeah, that's it. But it's like Brad Maddox. It's like... Yeah. When was the last time we saw Brad Maddox?
Yeah. Let's talk about Maddox first, because he's the easier one to talk about. I think the reason Maddox got released, he was an unfortunate mix of being annoying on the mic and being boring in the ring. That is a really bad mix to have.
Yeah, that's true.
He got annoying and frustrating as a backstage guy, who would be part of storylines. That was played out. People just didn't want to see him anymore, and he wasn't ever anything stand out within the squared circle.
Do you know the worst thing is? I can't even remember his debut.
Yeah, yeah. I know that obviously he got involved with the whole Vicky Guerrero being her guy, and then obviously he was co-GMing Raw. Then he was the GM of Raw while Authority was in charge, and yeah, when the Authority in charge, it doesn't really matter who's the GM, and that was the case. And as you said there, Matt, I can't remember the last time I saw the guy. As far as we knew, he was still the GM.
I'm still really struggling. I'm actually just like, how did he make his debut?
Yeah.
So I remember he was fighting for a match.
Yeah, you remember that? Yeah, he was trying to get a contract, wasn't he? And he kept wrestling people and losing along those lines. And I think he won one match, didn't he? Just like off.
Yeah, I mean, he was the one that low-blowed Ryback.
Yeah, he was the referee. Oh, that's how it was done, wasn't it? Yeah. But you know what? Like, that's the thing. He's the easiest one because no one's going to remember Brad Maddox, which is, a shame for that guy. But you look at him, you look at what other people are coming up from NXT have got. Man, he just got swallowed up. There was just no.
Yeah, no, he's essentially has nothing to bring.
Yeah. So I
nothing to bring.
I hate to say this. I don't like people losing their jobs, but if you had to cut someone, Brad Maddox is probably one of the first guys on my list that I think, you know what, he's not useful, get rid of him. He can go do something else. It might be better for the guy. Maybe he can go on indies and stuff like that and actually be somewhat relevant. The other guy who got released, this is an interesting one. The Great Khali, as we said. Now, I can see why he was released. And he has had a lot more time on the roster than maybe you would expect. He's been so irrelevant for such a long period of time. The last time I saw him was when he was the bodyguard holding Paul Heyman hostage, if you remember, during that thing there.
I'm not going to miss him.
Yeah. Well, next week we're going to have Great Khali on the podcast, and unfortunately it will be lots of gerbil. So...
That's pretty much the impression.
The only thing I could think of which would make this thing just quite hilarious is if Great Khali got his own podcast on Podcast One, and it would obviously never happen, but that'd be slightly funny.
To speak of Podcast One,
go on.
Have you seen who the latest one is with?
No, I haven't actually.
Paige.
What? With who? Like, who's doing it?
On Jericho, sorry.
Jericho's. Okay, that's interesting.
I'm halfway through it. Ooh. It's good.
Oh, okay. I'll have to have a watch that. Maybe listen to some more Sherry's Berries,
True.
Or, his underwear that soaks in the moisture, which is always interesting to listen to.
Yeah.
But let's not go too much into there. Go back on topic. Here's my thoughts on Great Khali, right? He was a big guy. He first came in, he was a massive guy. I mean, he is... to his own health's detriment, a absolute physical monster, right? Like, he is absolutely just god-awfully tall and big, and that was his draw. He was never anywhere good in the ring, and as soon as WWE started whittling away over the years, the fear remaining in the guy by making the Punjabi Playboy, and how many times did we see him in a Royal Rumble, the commentary say, Great Khali must be the favourite. I mean, how can he get chucked over the ropes? And then a minute later, he's
just
chucked
like
over
every
the
other
ropes.
time. It always happens.
It always happens. So once all that fear and all that and the attraction of him was whittled away, there's really not much else to give to the guy. And you know what? I think this release is for the benefit of Khali, because if he's going around bumping in the ring, a guy his size can't be wrestling much longer. I think didn't we talk about this before about Khali? That
I think we have mentioned Khali in the past. It's like the only thing I can think of is just like all I remember is like my girlfriend just going, he looks awkward, he walks awkward, he's just terrible. I was like, yeah.
And he doesn't do that because he doesn't know what he's doing in the ring, which he kind of doesn't know what he's doing in the ring. But he doesn't walk awkwardly on purpose. He walks awkwardly because his body cannot sustain
his own mass.
Own mass. So you imagine him taking bumps, him wrestling, is only going to damage him way more than a guy, even like Daniel Bryan would. Even though Daniel Bryan is way more elaborate, he jumps off the top rope and stuff. A bump, Great Khali taking a solid bump will have much longer long-term repercussions than it would do to a guy like Ziggler.
Yeah.
So it may be to his benefit that he actually gets released. I mean, I know I wasn't wrestling that much, but here's the damning thing about Great Khali. When you rack up the list of world champions, because Great Khali was a former world heavyweight champion.
Yeah, I forget this.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, Great Khali being a former world heavyweight champion is kind of just as forgetful as Jack Swagger's a former world heavyweight champion.
Yeah. But the worst thing about Khali is that he was so god-awful in the ring. He was never good. He was never bad. He was a step lower than bad. He was always pretty poor. I never said a Great Khali match that was fantastic. I've never said that, even when he was champion, right? So he has to go alongside, when you look at the likes of world champions that were just that bad in the ring, he racks alongside the likes of Vince Russo and David Arquette. They're not very good names to be beside. You know what I mean? Vince Russo and David Arquette.
Difficult.
I would argue that probably David Arquette could do a little bit more in the ring than Great Khali could. So there we are. It's not exactly great for the guy. But you know what? He'll go to India. He'll still be fine, and hopefully he'll have great health, because a guy that size is going to have health problems. It's going to happen. Yeah. But he's made his money, and he's now, especially in his home country, a big name. He was there on that Indian Big Brother or something along those lines, wasn't he? So his prospects, funnily enough, are better than Brad Maddox's.
Yeah, and to think you are in a better position than Brad Maddox.
Yeah. But,
shocking.
Yeah, that's it. That's the way it goes. But yeah, they're the two big releases. Well, I say big releases.
No,
Great Khali is a big release because he's a big guy, but Brad Maddox is just like, nah, it's not really much there.
Nah.
So yeah, will you miss Great Khali and Brad Maddox, Matt?
No.
No, I won't either.
Let me think about that. Hell no.
Hell no. Yeah, they've just been so relevant for a long time, and that list of guys to get released is shortening more and more and more as we do this podcast. They are finding more and more. They're not giving these guys a lot of time nowadays. I mean, Great Khali got a lot more time than usual, but they are just, okay, we need to cut costs. The network has made WWE be much more ruthless than it has been in the last 10 years. And maybe, I hate to say this because I said I don't like people losing their jobs, but maybe it would be to the benefit of the actual show, not having such a bloated roster. Moving Great Khali and Brad Maddox, just maybe puts in mind, okay, maybe I'm a little bit shore up on guys that have been brought up to the main roster. Maybe it is time to bring up a Sami Zayn, even though that's a completely different subject, and I don't really want to go into that at the moment until
that's a different topic.
That's a whole different can of worms right there. Here we go. Talking of can of worms, let's open this one up. This could almost be a Let's Talk More Wrestling podcast, because I think this is a very interesting thing. The end of last week, I think it was actually the Sunday or maybe the Monday, just after we did the 50th episode, news had come out that, in fact, it was the Sunday. You told me Sunday. I'm pretty sure it was Sunday. But anyway, WWE are doing the rounds in the UK. We told you that last week.
Yep.
They're doing a whole bunch of live shows, and obviously the show this week was from Liverpool. So Liverpool. Yep. However, they did a live show in the city of Leeds. Now, our American audience, if you don't know what place Leeds is, Leeds are notorious for having very sometimes offensive football fans.
Fans, yeah.
So when I say offensive, they're very aggressive. For better and for worse, they will support their team.
Stereotype football hooligan is to think of a Leeds fan.
Yeah. They're known for being intense. I think is probably the best word.
Yeah.
Still, that's not the entire city of Leeds. Leeds is a big place. That's just the football side of it. How does that factor into WWE Leeds? So the show happens. We're obviously not there, so we don't hear about it. Justin Gabriel sends out a tweet stating he never wants to go back to Leeds and that he was skipping the rest of the shows. Which, of course, is wrong. He doesn't have the power to do that. But still.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you want to skip it? Tough. You now want every one of them.
Yeah. Now, we're going to do both sides of this story because a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon. Let me tell you what happened. A group of about 6, 7, 8 people, a group around about that amount, essentially hijacked the show in terms of making a lot of chants in what seemed like a dead arena. So there were the main guys doing the chants, interacting with the wrestlers for better and for worse, okay? And these 7 people are the reason why Justin Gabriel never wants to go back there. A lot of people are attacking these guys, and maybe quite rightly so. There's a lot of witness reports stating that these guys were a bunch of penises.
Yeah.
Okay? However, we weren't there, I can't say for sure. Still, I'm going to blast Justin Gabriel for this at the end of this, but I want to go into the rest of it, okay? Gabriel here is wrong. Okay?
Yeah.
And I will bring up a few reasons why he wasn't right to do what he did. For multiple reasons, okay? So, let's do it from the point of view of the fans that are blasting these people. This brings up a divide that me and Matt know all too well, okay? There are 2 different types of wrestling fans that go to events. You have got the family-oriented WWE demographic people. They are mum, dad, two kids, and all they want to do is see their favourite wrestlers wrestle.
That's it. Mum, dad, and the 2.4 children.
Yeah. That they may not want to chant. They may chant "Let's go Cena" on occasion, but they wouldn't make chants like "We want Ziggler," JBL, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, all the stuff, you know, along those lines. There's a reason why when you hear the "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chant, you hear the kids go "Let's go Cena," and then you see hear all the
and then you hear the deeper man voice.
Yeah. There's a reason why that happens. So you've got those fans. They have a right to watch the show. Okay, so that's okay, right? The second fans are the ones that regularly go to live, local, and also WWE live shows. May not have been the first show they've been to. They've been to quite a few, right? They're the second type of fans. Me and Matt would go into that. These are the ones that would chant. These are the ones that would go to local shows, chant a lot, and because the rest of the fans are there like them, it's like the whole place are doing it, right?
Yeah.
Here's my take. I want you to give your take, Matt, on what you think happened. This is my first take on this. This is what I perceive happened on that day. And I could be wrong. I don't know all the event. I wasn't there, right? But this is how I perceive it to be. The show was dead. There's a lot of fans there. In fact, the vast majority of fans at the WWE Leeds live show that are the first demographic, the WWE demographic, which is what I call them, right?
Yeah.
So they're there. They're not chanting. They're just there to see their favourite wrestlers wrestle. And they're okay to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got these other guys, which are the second demographic, which are there. They've had it planned that we're going to go make the most of this night. We want to chant. We want to do all these crazy chants. You know, they want to make chants reference for each wrestler as they come out, for better or for worse.
Yeah, that's definitely us.
yeah. You know, and they've gone it. So you've got an entire arena filled with people that just want to see the wrestlers, and you've got these 7 people that are chanting. You'll be surprised how 7, 8, 9 people, how big that group was, can stand out in an empty arena. Trust me, it can happen, especially at a live show where these buildings aren't as big, right? WWE has a way of doing when they film their shows, they make the arenas seem far bigger than they actually are. And it's a really good trick of doing it, and a lot of different, you know, when you watch a UFC show, they do the same thing. They basically black out the top few lines of the audience, so it looks like it just goes on and on and on and on, but it doesn't.
Off into the distance.
Yeah, but it doesn't. So if you've got a dead crowd at a much smaller venue than you would see at a TV taping, you know, or live Raw or something like that.
I mean, I've gone to a live show and we're like, oh, welcome everyone to Raw with like these 14,000 people, and it's like I've been to a live show. I've been to a holiday camp WWE show out of Butlins, and it's like at most 1,000.
Yeah. So you'd be surprised if you've got 900 dead people there that don't want to chant. You've got 7 people doing it. Trust me, they will stand out. They really will, right? So they hijack the show. Suddenly, no one else wants to chant, even if they do build up the confidence eventually to do so, because these 7 people have taken over. So, do they both have the right to watch the show? Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Right? The guys that are chanting do have a right to chant. They do. And I know that some of the stuff they said, I've actually seen some Reddit posts by the people that were there, these actual group that actually were doing these chants, that some of the stuff that they did chant, they'll hold their hands up and say, actually, we went a bit too far. They did a chant regarding Emma, and they said, okay, that was a little bit too far. So,
you know more than I do now.
Yeah, I did a lot of research into this.
You did the Reddit research, that's fine. What did they chant about Emma?
Oh, they were like, hide your wallets and stuff like that, which
Okay.
is a step too far. You know what I mean? That didn't
That's
need to be right.
Yeah.
But let's go to the Justin Gabriel thing. From what they were stating, they were chanting, Justin, we love you. You know, Justin, we love you. We do. We love you, Justin. We do. Right?
Yeah.
The reason why he didn't like it is because he's a heel. Right?
Yeah.
So I think he tried to fire something back at them. And also, like, they said something to Cesaro. Cesaro didn't like it. And then he did point the middle finger to them and stuff like this, apparently, of what I've heard. So, you know, some of the chants they did probably did go over the mark. And they have to be pointed at for that, okay? Here's where I begin to blast Justin Gabriel, and then I'll let you have your take on this, because obviously you have your own way on it. The reason why I blast Justin Gabriel here, right? You are not on TV, mate. You're not relevant. No one knows if you're face or heel.
Yeah.
No one gives a crap if you come to a live show and you're annoyed that people are chanting your name because you're supposed to be a heel. It's a live show. Let them fucking decide. Right? Doesn't matter at a live show. Trust me. Right? No one's going to video it, put it up on stuff. Oh, this guy's acting like... It doesn't matter. Right? John Cena could act like a heel on a house show and it wouldn't matter. It really wouldn't. Right?
Well, probably.
Nah. Trust me. No one would give a shit. Like, people would be like, oh my god, he's going to go in here, and then he'll show up on Raw, all face and everything, all happy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, I've seen video footage of, like, house shows where, like, Bray Wyatt was... Well, I don't know, you've probably seen it, where the table decided to give up on Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, but that's it, like, Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose were in a tables match, or something, in a situation that involved tables.
Yeah.
And
Which is like a big marquee
matter.
match. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter at all. So... him getting snippy and then getting annoyed is one thing. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's go for the case that I'm wrong. Maybe these guys said something really, truly offensive towards Justin Gabriel, and he was right to be upset with them. His tweet is incorrect. You don't want to go back to the city of Leeds? I'll tell you what, the city of Leeds has a reason to say fuck you to Justin Gabriel. You've just stereotyped the entire lot of them.
Yeah.
Right? You're being prejudiced because 7 people in the crowd. Did you not see the rest of that crowd, which apparently were as good as gold? I think you need to apologise to the city of Leeds. I would state as well that Gabriel would not last a week in the golden age of professional wrestling where kayfabe is the main thing that's going on. Like, you couldn't bust kayfabe. Do you think if he were to go on, someone shouted out, I want to kill you, like they did to Sergeant Slaughter when he went to the when he was the Iraqi sympathiser?
Yeah.
The guy went out there when he thought he would be assassinated.
Yeah.
Justin Gabriel would not last a week in that.
I think it goes to the simple thing, like, my side of the thing is, like, Justin Gabriel seems to forget he is an entertainer.
Yeah.
He is out there to entertain, and if someone wants to boo, or if someone wants to cheer, as long as he's sticking... I was about to say, as long as he's putting arse in seats, but that's not his job, because he doesn't do that. But he's out there to throw himself around, to bump around a bit, and entertain. And if someone wants to cheer, if someone wants to boo, what does it matter?
Yeah, and if you've got a serious problem with it, go to the security once you're back through the rope and say, there's 7 pricks out there, go eject them. Yeah. Right? That's the way that you do it. Do you really think that John Cena would get away with doing that sort of stuff, you know? Look at CM Punk back in his days. He called someone, he asked if someone had a vagina in the front row, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Like, and that was extreme. People laugh at that day. But did he blast the entire city for doing it for that place? No, he didn't. He didn't go on Twitter. You know what I mean? I just think that Justin Gabriel did not handle this. And the idea, apparently, which he thinks he has the power to skip all future shows, even though he has worked future shows since then, is absolutely ludicrous. Do you think he's going to go up to Vince McMahon and say, these guys were being twats, I'm not working another show in this country? Vince McMahon would have said, okay, here's your P45, fuck off.
Yeah, that's it. Well, you can go home then.
Yeah. And just don't come back
to America.
Again.
No, you can fuck off back to South Africa.
Yeah. Get a one-way ticket because you ain't coming back. I can guarantee you that's what they would say. And I just bring it back up to this. Now, obviously, Gabriel doesn't have to go back to that golden era of wrestling where kayfabe was really true, right? He doesn't have to. It's a new age of wrestling. Well, come on, guy. Have a little bit more of a thick skin, right? You're a professional wrestler. I have seen live shows where abysmal things have been said to wrestlers, yeah? And sometimes they've thrown stuff back at them, along these lines. But when you look at the really top tier wrestlers, You know, how many times has the likes of John Cena had maybe some obscenities shouted at him, maybe about his mother, about his father, right? You've got to move on, brush it off as if they're not even there, and move forward, alright? Justin Gabriel gave these 7 guys exactly what they wanted, which was attention.
Yeah. I mean, it's the one. It sort of goes to prove it's just like, if this is how you're going to react on a house show, then you don't deserve to be on Raw.
Yeah.
You don't deserve to be on TV, because if one person in the crowd says anything and you flip, that's on TV, man.
Yeah, you just can't get away with that. And I know, you know, that you can say, oh, guys, but you said live show doesn't matter. You have to have some respect for the people that bought the tickets to come watch you. And I know they may have been really offensive. And like I said, I'm not stating, you know, I don't have a problem with wrestlers giving them the middle finger and stuff like this. But the way that I thought that he conducted himself after the show was extremely poor. If I were anyone else in that, and I had just... Imagine your little son, right? Right? Imagine, like, you know, Matt, in the future, you have a son, loves wrestling, you take him to a show, his favourite wrestler is Justin Gabriel.
Damn straight he's going to like wrestling.
Yeah, right? So his favourite wrestler is Justin Gabriel, right? You go to the show, whatever happens, you know, but your kid liked it anyway. He saw Justin Gabriel live, you know, doing all this stuff. He saw him, you know? He's all excited, checks his Twitter, and suddenly he says, I fucking hate your city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not, those guys in the front row really annoyed me. Because obviously he knew this stuff was going to come out. So I'd love to hear what our fans thought of it. And also, I'd like to hear one of our fans, Murish Moore, who actually recently went to a house show. He gave us like a roundup of what happened when he went. And his thoughts on it, because obviously he's been to a show probably most recently out of all of our fans. Just let us know what your thoughts about all that stuff are, and the rest of our fans as well, because I'd love to know what you think. I'm not in no way condoning. Fans are free to chant whatever they like in terms of really offensive stuff, but you would also hold up accountable the wrestlers that they need to have a little bit of thicker skins for this stuff and conduct themselves. What I would have done if I was Justin Gabriel: do your match. Yeah, sure, what these guys are chanting for, you get a little bit annoyed. You go out to the back after your match is done, and you tell the officials that there's guys out there causing a problem, right? If they don't deal with it then it's the arena's fault for not doing anything along those lines, you know, for not ejecting them. But that's how I would have gone about it. Is that? Do you have anything to add about that before?
No.
I think it's
just a simple fact. Like, I had my point. It's just like he almost seemed to forget what he was for a second.
Yeah.
And entertain him.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe this guy didn't have many live shows before he got into WWE. Maybe he didn't go to some of the scum old places, you know, along these lines. Maybe he didn't wrestle in an ECW, you know, type of atmosphere in his life. But a lot of guys who get to that point have, and it doesn't faze them anymore. And I think it comes to the point that some of them are a little bit soft. I know it's, you know, quite a bad thing to say, but obviously he is, because he reacted extremely badly here. So,
Question?
No questions.
Fan feedback. Got a few ones. Small fan feedbacks here this week. We have talked extensively about WWE and Leeds, but it is quite an interesting talking point because it does break down the two different... to me, it breaks down the clash of the two different demographics that WWE ultimately goes for. So,
I don't know if it's the one that they go for, but it's the ones that they have.
The ones that they have, yeah. So, few fan feedbacks here. We're not going to go on like a massive 40-minute segment that we did last week. So, but still, that was
just a special occasion.
That was a special occasion, yeah. Let's see if I can get this right. Man Rakita Bako 1, I'm getting that. It gets easier each week. That I do that. It's awesome. He says he also lives in Cork. Asks me, where do I live in the area? I think it's best for my security. I'm not saying this bad towards you. Best for my security that I don't tell the world my door number. So, I live in Cork. Let's just say, leave it at that.
He's an Englishman living in Cork.
It's not too
let's
many
put
of
it
them.
that way.
So, yeah, it's not against you. I'm just, you know,
you may well find him.
Like Matt last week, he said south of England, and he's leaving it at that. And, yeah, that's fine. That's the way it goes for it. Obi-Wan Jabroni, which I thought was pretty cool.
Clever.
Yeah. He is extremely angry because he cancelled his Sky Sports package because he thought the network was launching in the UK. Dude, I feel your pain.
That's it.
That must fucking hurt. I really have to say. And I would direct all that anger towards WWE for that, because they fucking deserve it. In fact, you know, and like he had his own thoughts on who he blames, and fair enough, we like different opinions, but man, it doesn't matter. It's still a shitty situation.
That's a proper shit end of the stick.
Yeah, innit? I feel your pain, dude. I really do. Robert Chapman left a lot of interesting questions and thoughts, but a lot of it related to things that happened on Raw. So we're gonna pretty much say all that on our Raw review. You know, so a lot of the questions on there would be answered from that. So you know, it's asking a lot about Ryback, and we're gonna have a lot of conversation about Ryback going forward.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's our fan feedback there. If you guys do want to leave us any questions, you know, leave a comment, and also you can tweet us there. Matt will bring them to the table there for you there at that time. So just a small little fan feedback there. Just go, you know, and answer a few things that our fans have left behind. And we really do appreciate the interactivity that we're having over the last group of episodes that we've been doing. It's really fun. Fail of the week. Okay. I'm not going to be able to top last week. 3 fails of the week, all around one gimmick. Pretty hard to top. Other states, you know. However, I do have one, and it's not WCW.
Boo!
I know. Wow, I tried to raid the vault away from WCW. There's still many treasures in that fail vault, but you know, you've got to close it up every now and then and allow a few other to come to truth. And it's apt that I would state that, because this fail involves R-Truth.
Oh no!
You know where I'm going, don't you?
I don't. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I can only think of there's a few.
Okay, so here's the one.
I think the whole Little Jimmy bullshit's a fail.
Oh yeah, we could go there. But there's a few funny bits with Little Jimmy. I have to say.
No.
A few funny.
Fuck
bits.
Little Jimmy.
Okay. However, we're not talking about Little Jimmy here. We're talking about when he was a face before the whole Little Jimmy started. There's a few rules as.
Are you talking like Truth Morrison?
No, not that fail. No. It's almost coming, Matt. You're whittling them down. You're whittling them down, okay? But right, so I'd ask you. There's a few rules as a face in WWE. One that Mick Foley has learned all too well. A few golden rules, ones that you always have to adhere to, because if you don't, the crowd will shit on you. And the first one is, remember where you are.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know where this is going now.
Yeah.
So, you're driving, you're doing a lot of travelling, I imagine you're going to lots of different places. Doesn't matter where you go, remember where you are, okay? Maybe R-Truth maybe had a few beers before the show, maybe he didn't, maybe he was a bit out of it, I don't know. He was wrestling Mason Ryan, probably didn't give a shit. So, they are in Milwaukee.
Yep.
He does his dance, you know, what's up, you know, you know, coming out of the ring, doing his rap, doing his thing, you know, R-Truth thing, as painful as it was. And he stops, does a little spin, puts his arm up, he's like, yeah, Green Bay, what's up? The crowd go, what's up? And then kind of like, actually,
like,
what's up?
What?
What did he just say?
Yeah.
And before they could even realise that he had made the mistake and started shitting on him for that, which throughout the majority of the match they did, chanting Milwaukee, as they are right to do so. JBL is famous for, you know, blowing a gasket, as we call it, and just going mental over nothing, right? Cole here blew a gasket, and I give him a thumbs up for it. Why not blow a gasket over this? He immediately after this happened, he shouted out, "We're in Milwaukee, you idiot!"
Yeah.
And there was times where the crowd were chanting Milwaukee, and Michael Cole would stand up, the camera would pan to him, and he's like, "Yeah, chant Milwaukee at this guy! What an idiot!"
It's Milwaukee.
Yeah. Apparently, the thing about this is that Green Bay had just won the Super Bowl, I believe. I think that was the what's going on around it. So R-Truth got confused. They had been to Green Bay quite recently, and he got his locations mixed up. You know, it was a funny mistake. He got roasted for it. I imagine he's got his knuckles slapped backstage, saying you can't do that again.
That's it.
But yeah, that's quite a funny fail. You can actually type in R-Truth, just put R-Truth Green Bay, and you can just
Or
see...
is it like R-Truth doesn't know where he is?
Yeah, along those lines. The most recent one that did the same thing was Darren Young, if you remember, and he got the wrong place. I think he was in Texas, and he said the wrong place in Texas. I can't say for sure. But he was funny because he kind of played off it. R-Truth kind of didn't realise that he had made the mistake, which was more of a fail in my opinion. But yeah, I thought the reason why Darren Young isn't up on here is because I thought he played off that fail pretty well, and he sort of salvaged it a little bit. So yeah, there we are. So next time we review a Raw in Milwaukee, we might throw in a curveball, and we want you to catch it, because we might say, oh, this week it was in Green Bay. So we want you guys to catch that if we remember to do that. All right, and call us out on it. And then you can just freak out like Michael Cole in the comments. It's Milwaukee, you idiots! It's Milwaukee.
It's like, it's all wrong.
Okay, Raw review, Matt. We've got plenty to talk about this week. Interesting episode coming from the UK. They've been doing the rounds, as they are. This, however, is a mid-monther, but it is spruced up by the fact that it is in the UK. You know, it doesn't follow normal mid-monther rules because the crowd are going to be way into this more than a usual American crowd would be, and they were. You know,
Do you know what the thing is, though? I'm sort of thinking, like, they really did. They must have edited it out loads. Because there were some points where I was thinking, this is really quiet for an England crowd.
Well, Liverpool isn't normally a place that they would go to. You've got London, Manchester,
London, yeah,
are the two main locations. So I do like the fact that they go to the pool, and they gave them a shot there. I think they were okay. I thought there was alright. There was a little bit of love given to them, and like the likes of Damien Mizdow and Ziggler were treated like local heroes. Which, you know, is awesome. You know, I do like that. But like I said, this mid-monther, we can't reclass it as a mid-monther because it is different.
And it's an international one.
It's an international one. It does give it a fresh feel, and it is the Raw that John Cena returned. Technically, he had a week off. Right? Ain't that many week of John Cena having a week off anyway.
Want to see Darren Young doing that, Mr. No Days Off?
That's it, Mr. No Days Off. Talking about Darren Young, I secretly think that guy is going to be something really good when he gets back. I think if WWE use him right, he could sell a lot of seats, regardless of the fact that he's gay or not. That shouldn't be a fact.
Plays no part
in it. The guy looks good, right? I don't want to hear jokes of, oh, you love Darren Young, grow up. He's got a good look. I think he looks determined. He doesn't look like a goofball like he did when he left.
That's it. He's lost the hair.
Yeah. And to me, he looks like a guy that maybe you might want to give a little bit more screen time to. As a face, personally. But there we are. Anyway, into Raw this week. Immediately, we are reminded why the Brits absolutely fucking rock as wrestling fans. Because we give you the John Cena sucks chant. John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks. Yeah, he's always awesome. He runs down the situation. He is the narrator, of course, for Survivor Series. He tells us that apparently Zack Ryder is out for 6 months as the Authority took him out because he's such a threat to the Authority, Zack Ryder.
Yeah.
Whew. Come on, the amount of wins that guy has. I'll tell you what, if he was still around, if I were Brock Lesnar, I'd be shaking in my boots.
That's it.
Zack fucking Ryder, man. Zack fucking
Coming
Ryder.
along with the broski boots.
Yeah. Ryback is the big talking point of this week's episode. There is a lot of stuff to do about. This was the Ryback show, in all sense of the word, and it's weird to say that considering he's been so irrelevant for the last 18 months. But
big push.
Well, you could say that he's back to an extent. We're going to go into why they kind of messed Ryback up a little bit this week. They tell us that Jack Swagger has joined the team. It's a little bit random, but alright, I'll take it.
Yeah. I'm proud to have Jack Swagger on my team. Really, John?
Considering he's been losing to Bo Dallas the better part of the year. But still, you know.
Okay, fine. We'll go with that. Yep. You're proud. Let's go.
Yeah. He says Ziggler is still part of his team. And like I said, we've got the We Want Ziggler chance. He invites Ryback down to try and recruit him also. So, yeah, essentially the whole opening segment played up to the fact that Ryback was going to he's going to join Team Cena. Essentially, that's what it looks like he's playing into. He gets one line literally on the mic, and literally barely at the end of his one line, the Authority just can't handle another opening segment without them, so they just have to come out and intervene. Maybe saving us from a Ryback promo, we don't know. But still. Through high waters, through thunderstorms and earthquakes, when the end of time itself is upon us and only chaos rules this damn planet, there will only be one sure thing left in this world.
Behold the king! The king of kings!
The Authority will still open Raw when time has ended and the waters have risen above us. If anyone can get a reference to what band that's a reference to, maybe you can get a little bit of a thumbs up from us there, especially. So yeah, with the Authority, they got Mark Henry beside them. They're besieged by "We Want Ziggler" chants. Ziggler, as I said, he may as well have been Barrett, really. Well, Barrett wasn't there. It seems like we had adopted Ziggler.
Oh, I know. That was actually the one thing I didn't even pick up on that.
I know. Quite sad that Barrett wasn't there. But yes, us English fans, as you had noticed on this show, we kind of like Dolph Ziggler. Yeah.
I think people who actually like wrestling like Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
Rather than just like mindless idiots.
Yeah. Here's the thing, right? I've got something to say, right? So, Steph, before we go into it, for a very lengthy conversation, right?
Okay.
Stephanie wants to use the a "God Save the Queen" as our new entrance music. I think we've had enough king and queen gimmicks in wrestling. Thank you very much.
I think
we'll
we've heard this joke as well.
Yeah. All I can think of is, I should be a queen. All I can think is Queen Charmel beside Booker T, just really being fucking annoying.
Just screaming at the boogeyman.
Yeah. Triple H, who has been on form the last 2 weeks.
Oh, God, yeah.
He cuts a very impassioned promo saying he knows everything is on the line. He laughs at the idea of Swagger being part of Team Cena, and as I said, why not? He has been beaten by Bo Dallas a while back. So he brings up Ziggler and says that he won't make it to the pay-per-view. There's another bit later on where they're stating these guys can't get through, they won't make it to the pay-per-view. I have an issue with this, and I'll explain it now. When the likes of Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins can appear on a show less than 24 hours after probably the most grueling Hell in a Cell match we've had in the last 5-6 years,
yeah,
why would we think that a guy getting a beat down would keep them out for 2-3 weeks?
Yeah.
There's something wrong with the consistency there. It doesn't work.
Someone's maths just doesn't add up.
Yeah. John Cena, after apparently an epic Hell in a Cell match with Randy Orton, can run down to the ring the next night, cut jokes, hasn't got a scratch on the guy. But yeah, if this guy gets a beat down by the Authority, then he's out for 3 weeks, can't make the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
There's something a little bit wrong with that. And I still state back then, they could help themselves a little bit if they've kept Rollins and Ambrose at least out of the ring the next night after Hell in a Cell. You know, really sold
it to have been truly hellacious.
Yeah. And then I blasted they're not selling it now, and now when they want to bring up, these guys won't make it to the pay-per-view, that's the reason why I didn't like what they did back then, because it just seems wrong. Anyway, Cena reminds Triple H that Daniel Bryan beat his ass at WrestleMania 30 after Trips had said exactly the same thing. A massive yes chant erupts. I don't know about you, Matt. When these yes chants erupted, I had a flash, just a small little flash, of the Attitude Era style of crowds. Did you?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
The entire crowd just chanting so much that they can't continue the promo until these guys have done their
That's
job.
it, like we need to stop for a second.
Yeah. And we don't have that as much anymore because wrestling isn't as hot anymore, but the cold hard truth of it, really. So Steph says that Ryback will get a bunch of new opportunities if he does join Team Authority, saying he could be the biggest monster WWE has ever seen. Possibly Steph could be right if they booked him right 2 years ago, but still. This seemed to annoy the Big Red Machine, which set up something going on later on.
Yeah.
Cena calls them both wankers.
That's one thing I don't quite get. It's like, we're PG, but it's alright, it's a British word. No, wanker, like, I could get fired for calling someone a wanker.
Yeah, like, Wanker to me is still a pretty harsh swear word over
That's
here.
it.
If you call someone a wanker in the middle of the street, you're more than likely going to get punched. You know what I mean?
That's it.
You know, maybe if they said toss pot, maybe that had been a little bit more acceptable.
Sorry, the way you sounded it made it sound very British. A toss pot.
A toss pot, yes.
One believes you are a toss pot.
Yeah. But yeah, wankers are still a little bit edgy. Maybe they need to, get up on that. But
It's like, wait, British words. Let's use that.
Yeah.
You don't know what that word is, do you?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
yeah. So Cena then does his little speech to try and recruit Ryback. Then he just essentially says that he's not scared of the authority, but Cena doesn't pay his paychecks, so he spine busts Cena and leaves the ring. Was this a heel turn? No, it wasn't. And here's the thing.
Yes, until we hit the main event.
Okay, yeah. As soon as they did this, I had my head in my hands, and I thought, they fucked it again. They've actually fucked it again. And I would not blame anyone for thinking that.
They couldn't help themselves.
Yeah. 2 weeks, come on. 2 weeks of having somewhat enjoyable Ryback, and we couldn't have it again. You ruined it again. However, was this really a heel turn? I would pose that, considering what we found later on. If they are going to change him heel, this wasn't the heel turn. This wasn't the thing that turned him heel.
Yeah.
He did not spine bust Cena, then stand along the authority, having Steph and Triple H raise his hands in victory. He left the ring. Right? It was never really implied. Ryback never said, I'm going to join the authority.
Yeah.
Right?
He could have just spine busted Cena and just walked off. It's like, I don't want to have a part in any of this shit.
Yeah, which is what it looked like he did. He never said, oh, but the authority do sign my check, so I'm going to beat you up. They left it ambiguous, and I hope that the way they're writing it is that Ryback don't work for anybody. He doesn't work for John Cena. Why would he give a shit who's in charge? He doesn't work for the authority. He wants to feed. That is the only thing he wants to do. Yeah. And we're going to bring up a lot of stuff about this because, he was all over this show. But the one reason I liked this promo, and man, I liked this opening promo, right? They made Ryback look like a hot commodity, like a free agent in sports.
Yeah.
We need this guy on our team.
JBL actually referred to him as the free agent as well.
Yeah. It made him seem like something special, which for the last 18 months, he ain't been anything special. I can tell you that. He's been a jobber. I'll just say that outright. He's been jobbing to a lot of people.
A tag team jobber as well.
He has lost 2 wrestlers in handicap matches with Curtis Axel next to him. So him here being looked like he's a hot commodity is a stark contrast to what he's been booked in before. So the storyline has a bit of fire to it. It has the feel, as I said, of like a sports draft. They're trying to draft the biggest names to their team.
Yeah.
And that I kind of like. So
we're good with that.
Opening match of the show, Seth Rollins against Jack Swagger. This match had the potential to be something good. I thought it was boring.
Yep.
I think you
considering it was only a couple of weeks ago that you were like, this was my match of the night, and I went for Ziggler, but you were like, no, this was my match of the night with Swagger and Rollins.
Yeah, I thought that match was excellent. I thought this one was as boring as tears. It bored me to tears, this one.
Yeah.
It was not what an opening match should be. In fact, it was quite slow. There was a small flurry at the end, which was pretty decent, but in an opening match, you need fast, you need quick, you need pace. I would have given them Ziggler right off the off-bat. Maybe they need to...
Ziggler? Here you go.
Yeah, give him the match then. Obviously, they had different plans, but that's what I would have gone with. And had a kick-ass match, given Ziggler and his opponent, whichever you choose it to be, 20 minutes of real kick-ass wrestling. And considering what Ziggler did...
And you know what the English fans would have done? Eaten that shit up.
And they would have given you that love back for the rest of the show. But they gave us a boring match, unfortunately. Rollins won with the curb stomp, making use of his distraction by his security team, Noble and Mercury.
Yep.
After the match, Rollins uses another curb stomp, which apparently rules out Jack Swagger. He's gone. He's out of the team now.
That's it.
Which as I said earlier... Considering we had Rollins and Ambrose jumping around, the night after Hell in a Cell, just seems off. It doesn't seem right. So, still, that's what they're going with. They plug the network on commentary. after this show. I
Do you
won't
think the crowd can hear us?
Yeah.
Don't forget to get the network.
They may as well have been whispering it into their mic, so they weren't hiding it, but they have been blacking out the WWE sign, WWE Network sign on their on their aprons and stuff like that, because obviously it's not available. We're not going to do what we did last week, even though I think you guys did enjoy that, where we just said
fuck WWE,
fuck you WWE over and over again. We'll move on from that.
We are more.
We have more ammunition in our sleeve.
More adult than that?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. But yeah, believe me, there was absolutely no shock to me that there was no on Titantron references or any references of the network on a mic this show. A 9.99 said on a mic in the middle of the ring was not to be heard this week.
Yeah.
And obviously we know why.
To be perfectly honest, to have done that would have just been suicide.
It would have been. Yeah. It would have been good heat for a heel to go out there and say that.
Yeah.
But you don't want to piss off your fan base.
Referring back to the opening segment, because we were on about the network, it's like the moment the authority walked out, where's our network?
Yeah.
And Stephanie was on form. She's like, these guys, they know who to ask the right questions to.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Stephanie. I loved it.
So now should we change it to fuck you WWE to fuck you Steph? Maybe no, we won't go there. That joke is played out for the 50th episode. So backstage promo with Dean Ambrose. I thought this was a very tame promo from the guy.
Yeah.
Of what the stuff we've got from him before, it wasn't up to par. That's my opinion. Okay.
I was not to say I didn't like it.
Yeah. The rivalry of Ambrose and Wyatt has had nothing to it the last couple of weeks. They've only got one more week to get something in the bank for these guys.
It's got to go big. Well, there's been some very good promos.
But I would argue...
referring to the fact that I've seen bits on YouTube which were like, on SmackDown this happened.
Yeah, SmackDown's irrelevant. We mentioned that last week.
I know we've mentioned it, but I have seen some very good promos on there.
Yeah. And they have given that feud a little bit more love on SmackDown, but that's not good enough. This is they've got Team Cena and Team Authority at Survivor Series. What else do they get? They've got maybe a tag team match, which is just a bit random, but maybe do some more wrestling. The big rivalry outside that main rivalry is Ambrose against Wyatt. I think it hasn't nearly had enough love given to it, and they're just saying, okay, we want to fight each other, but why? There's been no reference made to that.
I think this rivalry has a future to it. So
possibly beyond the match at Survivor
Series. And I hope so, because then it just justifies the fact that this has had nothing.
Yeah. I'm just shocked. I thought they would go... I think considering that they've got Team Cena against Team Authority, which is the main thing. They've got 3 hours. There's definitely at least half an hour they could dedicate to that show to Ambrose and Wyatt. You know, this was you and me were salivating. We said, look, let's just forget about where the future goes, where one of these guys will be referred to as a loser. But for now, we can have promo wars. Awesome! Yeah. We've not had anything along those lines. It's been a little bit tame. We've had good promos, but it's not as if they've been against each other. They've just been having these random promos again. Just random.
Just explaining their mindset sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, Wyatt's has always been directed. Like, it's quite odd, because Wyatt's the one that has been cutting promos at Ambrose. Yeah. But Ambrose is just like, Wyatt just wants to play games. I'm not here to play games. So it's just like, me. Ambrose.
Yeah, it's not. It's like, this is. If I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down self-destroying. I'll go to hell with Wyatt and stuff like this. And it does seem like to the naked eye, it's like, it is directed at Wyatt, but it's not like I want to kick Bray Wyatt's ass because of this. It's just like, okay, this is just me, and I'm going to fight Bray Wyatt. And it's not really his fault, because he's been given a 20-second promo backstage to do something, and there's not much you could do with that time. You know? Especially when you haven't got the other guy to promo against. They've got 1 week to sort it out, and I don't know.
We'll see.
So Ryback is joined by Kane backstage. Kane says that he'll be at ringside to help Ryback against Cena. Ryback says that he's got it, and he got this look on his face throughout these entire segments because he's pretty much visited by everybody, you know.
Yeah.
That he just ain't got time for their shit. Ryback just ain't got time for their shit. Ryback ain't got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, exactly. He tells Kane get out of his way, and then he's kind of got the return to the smarky Ryback that we got more used to during his Rybacksel days. I'm not completely against maybe him being more vocal, and maybe, you know, he's obviously got a little bit of charisma there. He's got his own way of you know, pranking people. We've seen that tons of times on Twitter. In fact, we didn't even realise that his injury was legit until he actually posted
the picture.
Yeah, exactly, because he just pranks so many people. Saying, "Oh, I got released," and it's actually, "Oh, I just got released at the shop to drive down the street." It's just like, really, stuff like that. But what I would state is that if they're gonna fuse the two Rybacks, classic, dumb, I'm gonna eat Ryback, to the smarky Ryback that we were more used to recently, then I would like to see more intensity than smarky remarks from the guy. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes from there. But yeah, he's just got a look on his face that, like I said, he ain't got time for their crap. He's doing his thing. They can talk. He's not gonna reply to them. So
that's it.
Paige against Alicia Fox. Our flying flag of British women's wrestling comes out to a roaring reception from the Liverpool crowd. For one night, we get Paige as a babyface, and two right. You have to play to your home strengths.
That's it.
How many times did WCW, for some unknown reason, at Ric Flair's old stomping grounds, his own place, make him lose and embarrass him at his home ground?
WCW ruins everything.
Exactly. It just doesn't make any sense to me. She gets maybe two televised shows a year. Paige in her home country, make the most of them.
That's it.
Yeah, that's what I would say. They didn't make the most of it because this match was over before it could become anything good. But I'm glad that they didn't all make her just, like, for some reason, just slander the crowd, which they normally don't do nowadays, and it's the right thing to do. But as I said there, it's a quick match. It's a quick nothing match. The fans can't really get super excited about it because the match is over pretty much before it starts. It's a rampage after a little bit of a beatdown, and Paige walks out with a win. There's one line here. Jerry Lawler can't help himself. He says, "Oh, there's not a lot of sunshine in the UK." Okay, King, we get it. From this part of the world, people have paler complexion. Get over it, please.
That's it. Like, how many times have you been to the UK?
Yeah. Come on. I mean, I know he's cracked that joke a few times. Oh, look how much pale their skin is. And yet he still can't help himself from checking out her ass whenever she's around there. Trust me, the paler skin doesn't make her any less sexy. Let's just get that right, okay? Doesn't make Sheamus any more attractive either, but we won't go there. You know? Backstage, Stephanie...
This is you coming out on the podcast, isn't it?
No. Yeah, I've said Darren Young and Sheamus and attractive, all that lot. I'm living a lie, people. No. It's not... Backstage, Stephanie meets with Lana and Rusev. I'm interested to hear your thoughts about this because I don't like this, and this is one of the things that Robert asked us in the questions regarding this. But essentially, I'll run down what happens, and I want to get your take on it first before I talk, because I'll go on for a while. She wants Rusev and Team Authority, as she said last week. Lana starts. Yeah, he's big guy, undefeated, United States champion. Why not, right? No, I haven't got an issue with that. But Lana replies that she isn't sure due to political concerns. Then Steph takes over. She says, "There are no politics in WWE." Which is a laughable line, of course. There's tons of it. That's the reason why Alberto Del Rio left, but we've already talked about that as well. I had hoped Lana had fired back here and said there aren't any, there's no politics in WWE. There doesn't seem to be any politics going on for your mother at the moment either. Would have been a perfect line.
Whoa! Yeah,
but obviously they wouldn't have done that. Here's the issue I have. Steph calls her a Russian twit. Lana and Rusev and stay there and just take it.
Yeah.
Your take.
I am Big Rusev. You just called my manager a twit. No, not going to take that. No, I don't. I didn't buy it, especially considering the whole times where, like, in his feuds with Swagger, and like whenever like Coulter got aggressive, in his words, every time Lana would retaliate.
Yeah.
You Russian twit, and she's like, and then that was it. It's just like, no comeback, no
had
retort.
the look of a scolded Russian dog.
Yeah, it's like, big and then that was it.
It was so out of character for them to just stay there and take it.
That's it.
Considering they're getting backing, apparently, in storyline from Vladimir Putin, one of the leaders of the world. But apparently, Stephanie McMahon, when she says something, man, we can't have an issue with that. It's only Stephanie McMahon. She doesn't even own the company.
Yep.
You know? It's like, really?
She's just a shareholder.
They like to do this, right? I'm guessing this is a Triple H call or whatever. But they like it when sometimes they will blast characters and damage them just to make themselves seem even more in control, even more like the authority. When actually, they never needed to have this.
Yeah.
They could have easily booked it and Lana said, you know what? They did. In fact, if they had done this entire thing and without actually blasting Lana and said, you know what, we did give you we had a deal. I gave you your title match. You help us, and they go, well, fair enough. Because we are honourable Russians, we will adhere to the deal, right? It's not about USA against Russia.
Because it's what Vladimir Putin would have wanted, and there you go. They've stuck to their guns.
Exactly. They haven't been fired on. They haven't been put in their place, which is exactly what they did. Even Rusev looked like a scolded dog here. Really? Don't buy that. There was damage done to the characters there. Considering they have done an absolute exemplary booking of both Lana and Rusev up to this point. This is the first hiccup. It's not like, oh, they've done irreparable damage. They should still be fine, especially now that they probably won't do that sort of stuff. They won't be blasting the character now that he's part of the team. But it is a hiccup, and it was one that didn't need to be made. And I think this is a little bit of ego going on. You know, it reminds me back into the days of when Dusty Rhodes put his hand in front of Stephanie's face, and it looked really good. It looked like a part of the story because the Rhodes and the Authority hated each other, so it didn't seem out of blank for him to do that. But she was genuinely insulted by that, and then suddenly you didn't see him involved that much anymore.
Yeah, suddenly, bye-bye, Dusty. Oh.
Yeah, which I don't think you should be punished for making decent television. It's not like he comes from an old school. It's not like he's disrespecting her. He was making it seem like he was disrespecting her on camera. That's his job. But it seemed like a little bit of ego booking here to get her character over when it didn't need to be done. That part didn't need to be done.
No.
But it's a small hiccup. Like I said, when I say damage has been done, it's a small thing. They should be okay. Hopefully, anyway.
I think they will be.
A soulful promo again this week with Xavier Woods. He's
sick of this already.
Yeah, he's a new day, Matt. Are you into this?
Sick of it.
No? Okay.
No, I am not buying into the hallelujah testify bullshit.
Yeah. Well, we've seen Xavier Woods again this week. Kofi was later on in the show, so I guess this faction is...
What's happened to Big E?
I guess, well, they're revealing one each week.
Part of their faction?
So maybe next week Big E will have his own version. Because remember last week Kofi didn't have it. Can you imagine Big E doing a dance? Yeah, Big E, yeah.
They're not going to be, like, bringing Big E in as, like... Do you remember when Batista first debuted?
Oh, God, no. It's not going to be Deacon Big E, no.
Oh, I hope not.
Was it with the gift box wrapped around his neck with a chain? No, I don't think it's going to be.
I hope not.
I hope not, anyway.
That would literally be like, that's your career. Put a gun to it.
Yeah. Well, I go back to the promo, the very good promo that Xavier Woods cut when these guys first looked like they were joining forces, and then they disappeared for months, right?
Yeah.
He said, no longer are we going to sit around and let things be taken from us. Now we take what we want. That we're going to be, we're going to be the predators now. No one's going to take anything that we deserve away from us.
Nation of domination. No.
Yeah. No, I didn't want him to go down the Nation 2.0 route. But I liked what he said. It seemed honest for these guys, fair enough. But now the gimmick seems to be, it's a new day! Yeah! Woo! Let's do a soulful dance, testifying.
Hallelujah and stuff.
It's not a new day. It's a new gimmick. That's all it is. And
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I'm
glad you picked up on that, though, Matt.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a new gimmick. That's all it is. And at least they're giving him a little bit of love. They're giving him vignettes.
That's it.
But how long that will last, and in that current gimmick, doesn't get me excited. You know, I would have much rather 3 really hungry young guys that felt they've been pissed off. Maybe go heel, you know, maybe. I'd like to see Kofi Kingston try and go heel. At least have some charisma, give him some shot.
No, you wouldn't.
I would love Kofi
No, you wouldn't.
I would. I don't...
I genuinely don't believe you.
I'm not a big fan of Kofi Kingston because he doesn't do anything different. If he did something different, then that would at least be as mildly interesting.
No, I don't believe you.
You don't believe me, okay. But are you excited for this new day that apparently is happening? No. Personally, not me either.
I am not.
Backstage, go on.
Especially considering, like, it's later on where they do the Kofi one, and it's like Kofi jumps in. It's like, oh, so you're still the flying man, are you? Whatever.
There's not much really to be seen from that anyway, but we'll see. It's not as like, oh, the Wyatts are coming or anything along those lines. It doesn't have that same impact.
Yeah.
Backstage, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon are watching last week's show with Vince. They essentially bitch a bit about him. Triple H is still laughing over the idea of Ziggler being part of Team Cena. I sure hope this leads somewhere for Ziggler, that he shuts them up in some way. Because imagine if he loses, Ziggler looks bad, and they do nothing with him.
Yeah.
Then that's a scary damn thought right there. But Triple H says as long as they have each other, everything will be okay. We'll say it again about these guys. They may be corrupt, may be the biggest heels in the company, but they have a good relationship, and they must be commended for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
They're still a loving couple.
Still a loving couple, you know. You can see the love in there, you know. They seem to get genuinely turned on by Triple H battering Daniel Bryan almost a year ago, so...
Oh, no. Let's not remember the time where Steph got wet at ringside.
Yeah. Oh, dear. Oh, well. Yes, 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 I guess. Remember when we did that intro? Yes, yes, yes! Oh, dear. Our long-term fans will remember that. That was a fun intro.
Twisted.
Yeah. So, Rusev is out for his United States Championship coronation ceremony. And Lana is stating that Rusev being the champion reminds the fans of his superiority. She states, without Russia, the English would be speaking German. That's sort of wrong.
I was definitely thinking. I was just like, she's still talking about America.
Yeah, yeah.
Still America.
Ooh.
If it wasn't for the Russians, you'd all be speaking German. Well, no, because if it wasn't... Like, sorry, as someone who knows the history of it, if it wasn't for the fact that Russia's a very cold place,
yeah,
the only reason why Russia helped. You live in a frozen place, and the Germans died of freezing.
Yeah, all their tanks shut down because they couldn't fucking work. Like, history lesson, you know, for guys, you know, in regards to that. Russia didn't come to our safety. They didn't march upon British soil and run the Germans away from our beaches. No. Hitler got a little bit too confident and greedy, and he decided, I can run 2 wars at once. And then he sent all of his troops over to Russia, as Matt has so eloquently said. They froze to death, essentially, and then he didn't have the troops to support Russia, saying, well, you invaded us, so now we invade you. So yeah, maybe without...
Also kind of forgetting, there's like, at the start of the war, you were with the Germans.
Yeah.
Let's not forget this bit, shall we?
Yeah. So, there's our little history lesson.
Up!
Shut up! Shut up, Lana! Shut up, yeah. A spokesperson says that Putin himself couldn't be more proud, amongst who are your chance. You know, why not? We don't know who this guy is.
British.
And that the government themselves thank Rusev. Rusev tells the crowd to rise to the Russian anthem. And it just reminds me, when I see this sort of stuff, you kind of remind of the fact WWE have given Rusev a lot of tender loving care. When you look at the long list of guys that have just been absolutely dicked on since they've joined the main roster from NXT. Yeah. But he's got, what is it? He's a United States champion. He's unbeaten. He's been given constant victories in all of his rivalries. You know, he's always been he's always beaten them clean. You know, he's not exactly cheated to win all his matches.
Clean power.
Yeah. It's a shame that all this work, all this really hard work they've done to build Rusev up, is going to be given to a man who doesn't need it, that being Cena. So,
yeah,
a bit of a shame there. Sheamus breaks up proceedings and starts up the rematch for the title, which happened next after
the
that.
match where Sheamus became the sweatiest man ever.
he was sweating profusely in this match, wasn't he, for the United States title. Commentary gave an apology apparently about Sheamus interrupting the anthem. I guess they're still trying to play this card, but that's long past. I think the moment where Rusev kicked an actor in the head and they sold it like a soldier. I guess that most people saw that was a little bit silly, but still. Did you guys notice the international flavour of this match? Here we go. The United States Championship being defended by a Russian against an Englishman in England.
Against an Irish. Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, he's an Irishman. From
yeah, but you said the United States champion who's Russian
defending against an Irishman.
You said defending against an Englishman in England. I'm
going to play that back, right? And we'll see if that's wrong. All right? I won't do it now, obviously, but we'll see who's right on there. If I did get it wrong, what I meant, I think I'll get it right. But if I did get it wrong, a United States champion who is Russian defending against an Irishman in England.
US soil. Yeah.
Well, you got that wrong. You said US soil, so.
Shut up.
We're all getting it wrong.
One each, whatever.
First half of this match I thought was dreadfully boring.
Slow.
Apparently Rusev really liked his locks on the ground and just didn't want to let them go. I'm all for maybe slowing the match down and doing those sort of things.
Ground cuddle.
Yeah, but I mean it got a little bit too much. But after the ad break, things picked up. It looked like maybe they were wasting time until the ad break and when they really could kick on and go for that. During the final blows of the match, Noble comes down with Mercury to distract Sheamus, which gives Rusev the count-out victory, which, as we know, sets him up with Team Authority. And the segment after that involving Steph and Lana, and Rusev says that they will join. Even more damage done here, right? So they say they will join the group, and that she goes to say, Putin is happy or whatever this, and Steph says she doesn't give a damn what Putin says. If I were Rusev, as proud of a Russian as that, I would screw the Authority out of their match for saying that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a crap what Putin says. Hasn't that whole thing, the whole deal been... I know
the fact that they are so, heavily loyal to the Russian cause, yeah. It's like, I don't give a damn what Putin says. Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just like why does Steph just feel the need to slam them for this? Like, you don't have to be patriotic, you know, that's a face thing. Just say, thank you, you're in our group, you know, fantastic, shake hands, done. There we go. That's all you need to do. You don't need to do this extra stuff. But it's a little bit ego booking, I think, from there. That's the only thing I can point it to. Ryback backstage. He's with Seth Rollins. There's a lot of backstage segments in this show, just realising.
Yeah.
He wants to welcome Ryback to the team. He runs his mouth a bit and reminds Ryback of their past, you know. The match of the year they had at TLC a few years back.
Oh, now it just makes me feel even worse that I don't have the network.
Oh, what a match that was. I remember you and me watching that year and we thought, we've got a few good matches for match of the year. We'll see what TLC can bring us. Wait, match of the year. Bang, there you
Done.
go.
That one.
So yeah, that was pretty awesome. But yeah, they do have history, you know, Ryback and Rollins. It's quite interesting to bring them up there. Ryback says he just finds a target and destroys it because he's a big guy, and kind of sets him up for what sort of character we can expect him to be. I.e., he doesn't got time for people's shit. So, yeah. Los Matadores versus Miz and Mizdow.
You had to, didn't you?
I had to. Sorry, I apologise wholeheartedly for that statement, but there we are. No, so I would state. Damien Mizdow is a wizard. He created something great out of a pile of turd. However, name one way that they could make this thing annoying again. They could make Hornswoggle part of the act.
Yeah, well, any reason just to have Hornswoggle and fucking El Torito in the same place.
Like he's like a mini gimmick whore in WWE, taking whatever he can get. He's like, this week, I'll be an alligator because fuck it. This week I'll be Miz because.
Like, do you know what?
Like,
I'm pretty sure he has. I'm quite shocked he hasn't been sued on gimmick infringement yet.
Imagine if he does that sort of stuff when he gets, if he gets released. He won't get released, but if he does get released, it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna be Mini Hogan. Nope, you can't do that anymore, Hornswoggle. But I'm too used to it. I can be anyone I like. No, it doesn't work like that. He might dress up as El Torito one week. I wouldn't put it past him, but still. Miz is being cheered by like an Olympian hero who just won us gold at the Olympics. He's just like, Miz Dow, yes.
Yeah. And you know what the worst part is? All that time, it's like, yeah, can we fucking no.
Yeah, they teased us on it. Yeah,
Oh,
I appreciate that a little bit because they're still heels. He is still technically a heel, right? So I kind of appreciate that. It was done pretty well. However, JBL tells us that they're talking about Miz and whether he can afford stunt doubles, along these lines. He drops a bombshell by stating Tom Cruise can't afford a stunt double. Really?
Like Tom Cruise has to pay for his stunt double.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that even if he did, he's got a few bob in the bank, even with his divorce. I think he's all right. I think he's all right, JBL. Don't worry so much about Tom Cruise, okay? So Miz and Mizdow get the win here. They, basically cheat to get the win via mass cheers from the crowd. I thought it was an okay match. Nothing more, nothing less. It wasn't memorable, but it was done to further sell this 4-way title match that they're going to have.
Yeah.
And that's what all it was there for.
That's all. Yeah, that's all its purpose was.
I just hope to holy hell that this was just a 1-week thing because they were just going against the Matadors.
Yeah.
I don't want Hornswoggle next to Damien Sandow. It's like it's like I say Adam Rose is a black plague of segments, and he is. Hornswoggle's like a black plague sucking other people's greatness and not using it. It's just
yeah.
Ugh. Anyway, backstage, Dolph Ziggler greeted by Cena. Cena's so basically he says, there's a lot of stuff going on. If you want to leave the team, then you're more than free to do so. And normally, come on, if you've got some sort of a push, you don't want to be in Team Cena. You don't want to be anywhere close to Cena. But Ziggler's already had most of his push taken away from the guy, so it won't damage him that much.
Yeah, it can be done.
Yeah, he sticks with the team anyway. Triple H rolls up with his troll face on. And bans Cena from ringside for Ziggler's match. And then he sings another one, bites the dust, and I'm transported back to classic Gladiators, back in the hero.
Yeah.
All I can think
is
ready, Gladiator.
3, 2.
I know our American fans are like, what the hell are they talking about? But our British fans will know.
Gladiators, you just.
Yeah, go on. Awesome. But that's all I could think of when you started singing that anyway. Ziggler against Henry. Mark Henry, that being. Right, so before the match begins, you've got a Luke Harper mini promo towards Ziggler. Looks like Harper will be the new contender for Ziggler's title. That's probably where they're going for here. He says he'll piece himself together with pieces of Ziggler, and why not? Because Ziggler, pretty damn good in the ring, so
That's it.
I thought this match was a sloppy ass match. I thought this match was a little bit all over the place.
It was terrible.
I don't know whether maybe it's Mark Henry's lack of agility, coupled with Ziggler's at times over enthusiasm that just didn't mix with each other. But the match itself didn't go well, and then it almost did it right by ending it before it could get worse. I think, along those lines. Like it wasn't working. I don't know if you got the same.
I don't know. It did. Yeah, it didn't click.
Yeah.
It was just like.
And I'm not saying
I was actually glad to see the Big Show turn up.
Yeah, I'm not saying here, it's Mark Henry's fault, man, because Ziggler can wrestle anyone. Some people just can't wrestle each other and have a good match. John Cena and Randy Orton for one. They can't. They can have a good match, but it's just not useful. They don't have chemistry. Maybe these guys just didn't. They haven't wrestled each other that much. Just didn't click, as you say. It happens sometimes. It doesn't mean either guy is bad. It's just is the way it goes. But as you say, Henry then whacks Ziggler with a chair for the DQ, apparently to take him out of the pay-per-view situation, because apparently that'll do that now. Just using a move on the steel steps, apparently more devastating than being thrown off the side of a cell. But let's not talk about that too much.
Yeah, leave that again.
Yeah, Big Show comes down to stop the world's strongest slam on the steps for Ziggler. And that basically, then that's Big Show stating that he's going to join the team, right?
Yeah.
So they aired just after that the Kofi version of the New Day vignette. Then they had the Ziggler and Big Show greeted by Cena. Right? Do you guys remember last week when Big Show stated, probably for quoting it, "If John Cena wants me on this team, I'll be there for him. I'll be on."
You mean the one where he looked like he was about to cry again?
Yeah. So he says to Cena here, to his face, "I'm in the team." And Cena says, "I can't believe that you joined my team." Really?
Yeah.
He said it to you last week, he would. Do you not watch the shows you're not on? Maybe? I don't know. I'd imagine that you would. You haven't missed many, so maybe he doesn't watch the shows that he misses. But Sheamus rolls around, joins the crew also. It just annoyed me a little bit that they couldn't even reference the fact, it's like, oh, is it really a shock that Big Show was going to join the team? He said last week he would. If they had left that small little promo out last week.
Oh, you're up to 4 now, fella. Oh, go away.
But yeah, it just seems a little bit like continuity issue. Sometimes WWE isn't that great at the little things, and this is just another thing. And I imagine that a large part of this is because they have to fill in 3 hours of Raw, so it's kind of hard at times for them to realise, oh, wait a minute, this doesn't match up with this. Wait a minute, Raw's an hour away from starting. Let's just leave that in there. No one will notice. And then people like me and Matt, we notice, because, we review it each week.
You see that shit.
Yeah. That doesn't get by us, man. We're on that like shit, we're on that like white on rice. So, this brings up AJ Lee against Brie Bella. A match I could see happening. I'm guessing you were the same thing.
Yeah.
Just makes sense to me. An extremely quick match. That was over probably no more than 90 seconds, I would say. And AJ gets the win via the Black Widow. When you look at Brie Bella and AJ Lee, two of the better wrestlers on the roster, in terms of the female contingent anyway, you would think maybe they could give them a little bit more than 90 seconds. Considering Brie Bella, they had built her up before to be a competitor. Even though she's lost a lot of matches. She lost against Steph, she lost against her sister. Really, she's been booked like a loser, pretty much like her husband was during that time as well, but let's not go into that. But she's built up like a competitor, and then AJ Lee literally dispatches her in a matter of just over a minute. Doesn't speak volumes for the girl, really.
Including an opportunity for her to go, Brie mode! Which I really don't care about.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't buy this Brie mode shit.
Nikki, after the match, calls her sister a loser. I agree. Because
she lost. That's fair enough.
And then she uses the rack attack on AJ. And, I'm with Nikki here. Her sister lost within just over a minute. She's a loser.
Yeah.
I've got no issue with Nikki doing that. Oh, man. I haven't said that often on this show. Woof. UK is Bizarro Town. Strange things happen there.
What?
Yeah. So after this, they showed a real good feel-good segment here. That I was a little bit annoyed that they didn't do on Raw last week when it was in the US, but still, let's try and put that beside us. They showed footage of Army Sergeant Dan Rose. He was on SmackDown. He was talking about being paralyzed from the waist down from taking a bomb in Iraq. I give big props to this guy. He's dropped this line, and it really stuck with me. He said, luckily, he was the most injured guy. Man, that's a special sort of person that could be that selfless. Say, luckily I was the one that took the most damage. He then puts on this like exosuit, which I can only think is Call of Duty Advanced Warfare style.
Or Titanfall
or something like that. And then he walks under his own power. It was very powerful. You've got the crowd chanting for him.
Yeah.
He seems very uplifted by them, I just think, why couldn't they've aired this a relevant show? Why couldn't they have done this on Raw last week? What an awesome segment that would have been. I would have loved it. And when they show pretty much the entirety of the segment on Raw the week after, it makes you wonder why they just didn't put it on Raw. But yeah, I'm all for. I thought this was pretty awesome. Actually, they gave a lot of time to Sergeant Rose, and yeah, we hope that he gets a jetpack on that motherfucker and he can just fly around. He deserves it after the stuff he's gone through. Make him our first advanced warfighter. Do it. Make that shit happen. The guy deserves it. And that's just to get around, in civilian life. He deserves it. But that's cool. When I think of that, and this is going a little bit away from wrestling, but I use a cane to walk because I've got a broken leg. Mm-hmm. It's kind of weird thinking.
You say broken.
Well, it's not broken anymore, but it feels like it's broken.
Yours is wrecked.
Mine's just destroyed, yeah. But it's pretty awesome that they're able to create this stuff. Man.
Yeah.
Awesome for guys like this guy who really does deserve, everything he gets for being the guy that he was at that moment in time. So I give big props to the guy, and I hope our fans do as well. Backstage, can you imagine, by the way, even if he's I know they should have done it last week and he would have got a rousing reception. Imagine if they'd done it this week in the UK, which I know they wouldn't have done because why fly the guy over to another country? It makes no sense. But I'm pretty sure that even if it's a UK crowd to an American serviceman, he would have got cheered like he was The Rock. You know what I mean? Returning.
Yeah. Do you know the one thing I kind of bugged me a little bit?
Go on.
Because they were just like, oh, and Happy Veterans Day and all things like that. Like, this is actually on our Armistice Day, so it's our Veterans Day too. But we get a mention? No.
Yeah.
I know you're an American company, but it's World Wrestling. I know we keep mentioning that it's not really the case. But...
Are you going to send a tweet to Paige saying that she didn't have a poppy on?
Oh! No, I won't. She was in ring gear, so I'll accept that.
Oh, I don't know.
I'll accept the fact that she was in ring gear.
Okay, alright, fair enough. Maybe you don't want to get called a twit again by William Regal, no?
No.
We won't go there. Backstage, Ryback is greeted by the man who put the final nail in his push when he originally had it, Mark Henry. When he fell on him and pinned him at WrestleMania, Ryback... You
remember when I whooped your ass at Mania? Whooped his ass.
You fell on him. But still...
Yeah. Suddenly I just realised you really are a fat bastard and I can't lift you anymore.
It just reminded me seeing these two guys next to each other. It was just like that was the moment that Ryback was never going to be a main eventer ever again. It was just like, oh, really? Was it 13 consecutive pay-per-views in a row that he lost? I mean, that was in the middle of them. 13 months of losing on a pay-per-view. Jesus Christ. Anyway, Ryback just doesn't care. He's just like, I don't have time for anyone's shit.
That's it.
Go away. And
I am Ryback. I'm here for me.
Yeah, that's it. Adam Rose against Tyson Kidd. Here's an interesting thing. So, apparently a wedge has been drawn between the Bunny and Adam Rose. Compelling television that this is. I'm all for what I call him the black plague of segments, to just put the Bunny to sleep and change his disaster of a gimmick that he has to something else. He could be the gobbledygooker and have more potential as that than he is at Adam Rose.
Oh yeah,
right?
I was like, I don't know what it's been recently. It's like, what's with the makeup?
Yeah, what's with the eyeliner all of a sudden? Oh,
it's like, I'm Adam Rose, and I've suddenly decided I'm a bit of a goth.
Yeah.
It's a party. No,
every now and then he just comes out really sad, drinking coffee.
Yeah, that's it. Just pretends he's a massive Sting fan or something.
Yeah, something like that. However, during the match, Eric Rowan comes out just to solidify his fall from the
just bullshit.
Yeah. He comes out, says in a very bad way, with bad acting, "Where is she? She's not here." Essentially talking about Renee Young. So they're actually going to do a stalker gimmick.
I know.
Eric
it
Young.
Sickens me.
Wow. I would look as Eric Young. I'm not calling him Eric Young. Maybe he does want to change his name to Young so he can, when eventually in his mind he marries Renee. But like Eric Rowan, right? When he has to look at the likes of what is being done with Luke Harper, who looks like he's being injected into the main event at Survivor Series, and what's being done with Bray Wyatt, he's in what should be a high-profile match with Dean Ambrose, and now he's a stalker.
Yeah.
I would point him in the direction of what they did with DDP, and I would be worried about the guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not great omens for him anyway. Eric Rowan, I'm sorry, dude. Looks like you got the brunt end of the stick, and unfortunately, I'd much rather you have it than the other two. And I'm really ashamed to say that, but
I'm not ashamed to say that.
Apparently, though, however, a commentary have absolutely no clue what he meant.
Yeah. So they clearly didn't see what we saw last week, where he just decided to touch Renee across the face, just like pretty.
Oh well, maybe he got confused and thought that she was one of the Rosebuds. Who knows?
You see, I thought he came out as like, is he stalking a rosebud now?
Does he think that maybe the bunny is quite attractive, wants to stroke him or something? I don't know.
Well, just like there's a lot of like rather attractive women in amongst the rosebuds.
Yeah.
So surely, like, maybe it's not even just the fact that he's stalking Renee; it's just the fact he's a massive sex pest.
he's a big ass pervert.
I'd much rather them just stick him like go with like a sexual deviant gimmick than a stalker.
Just suddenly he's just getting very turned on by every woman that he sees, you know.
That's it. Like, it actually turns out like someone has to come and save the day, and he's just got women in his basement or something. I don't know, just Criminal Minds that shit. I don't know.
Bat, you are not a PG booker. Let's just say that. So this week
I knew there was going to be a fault somewhere.
This week we're going to have Brie Bella get abducted by Eric Rowan, and we'll imply that he's going to use her as a sex toy or something like that.
Yeah.
Book that shit. Yeah. Hey. You know, that's the way it goes, I guess. But let's go back to the match anyway. He wasn't out there for very long, Eric Rowan, anyway. The Rabbit goes to the top rope. He distracts Rose long enough for Kid to lock in the sharpshooter and continue a winning streak for the guy. He's on a winning streak, which is...
In fact, do you know he was in a match on SmackDown?
Yeah, for the, was it the IC number one contendership?
Yeah, no. He was in a triple threat match for it.
Oh, wow. I heard apparently that match was excellent. I haven't seen it.
Cesaro and Tyson Kidd.
Oh, that has the makings of being a classic right there.
To be fair, that actually is like, I really need to see this match.
Yeah. No, I've heard nothing but great. In fact, I've had a few people say to me that is something to look at, and I might have to go and have a look at it. Doesn't mean I'm going to go watch SmackDown each week though, but there we go. This was possibly, this match, the longest Adam Rose match I've ever seen. It was still less than maybe 4 minutes, even with the Eric Rowan walk-in. But it was still the longest one I've ever seen. How many Adam Rose matches have we seen end within 10 seconds, you know? Just a party foul and he gets a pin or something along those lines.
Yeah.
He gets pissed off, he kicks the bunny in the gut and tells us it's Wabbit hunting season. Gets out his shotgun and blows his head off.
You watched a completely different episode of Raw to me.
Maybe I fell asleep and made up the rest as I went along. Well, I wish maybe he had done that. Maybe it would have been a bit interesting. But he does kick.
Because we don't know who's under the mask, and if it is, I'd rather not see him dead.
Yeah, there is that. That being said, just for people like who didn't watch Raw, they're like, "What happened?" He did kick the bunny in the gut. That part is true, and then he
his brains out.
Yeah, then he just leaves with the rest of the Rosebuds.
Yeah.
This clearly to me tells me that the Rabbit is probably going to go on a singles run, probably going to be Intercontinental Champion within 6 months.
As the Rabbit?
As the Rabbit, yeah, definitely.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe go on to WrestleMania. Win
Jesus, imagine JBL's reaction.
He wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal,
Shit.
you know, has the big thing and goes on possibly to become one of the last 4 in the Royal Rumble. Can you see that happening, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I'm being sarcastic, guys. Come on, really. But my statement to that, people going, "Oh, come on, Tony, really?" Sorry, if WWE aren't going to take their show seriously at this point, then I won't. That's the deal, okay? That's where the buck stops.
It's like my only problem is like if the rumors are true, it's like, oh, it's Sami Zayn. It's like, that's fine. If Sami Zayn wants to pretend to be the bunny, that's fine. But if they take the mask off and it's Sami Zayn, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah. Imagine one week
that's the label that he's going to get stuck with. He was the bunny. No, I don't want that shit for Sami Zayn. I don't want he was the bunny. I want he is Sami Zayn.
Yeah. If I was Sami Zayn, and apparently he is the bunny, right? As far as
that's fine. Like,
right?
He can be the bunny.
Yeah.
Just don't want him to be the person under the head when he takes it off.
Yeah. No, I've got no problem with that, right? But if I was Sami Zayn, every single time I go out there and wrestle or be out there as the bunny, I would staple that head and make sure it does not come off.
Yeah,
I would wear a morph
exactly.
suit to make sure that if it does come off, no one can see my face. That's what I
Yeah.
would do. Something along those lines. Just anything. It's the worst thing in the world if just something really bad happened and suddenly we realise it's actually Sami Zayn. And WWE run with that. It's just like,
That's it. Sami Zayn, your career, it's over.
yeah.
Even saying those words.
You're scared, aren't you now?
It tastes bitter in my mouth.
Oh dear. Let's move forward then, before you get sad and wonder of Sami Zayn's future.
I'm sad now.
Yeah. Oh.
I need to watch NXT.
Yeah.
Remember that Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville for the title.
There you go. That'll make you happy. Go on.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that next.
Yeah. And come back to me in 7 days. We'll see if you're better then. All right.
Okay.
That's the doctor's orders now. Okay.
Okay.
The Authority are backstage with their team. Ryback is absent, and Kane wonders if he has attitude problems. Ryback overhears this, but Triple H reassures him. Stephanie gives a
Stephanie?
No, I'm getting my words.
Sorry, I just heard you say Stephanie.
Well, technically, right, because she was kissing Triple H. Maybe she did give him a Stephanie.
Okay. Well, that or I'm just completely mishearing things.
Or maybe I just saved the fact that I messed up her name there, but we won't go into that. Stephanie gives a speech on unity for the group. She just isn't one for inspiring speeches.
No, she's no Braveheart.
No. Her talents lie elsewhere, shall we say. Not like that. Come on.
Oh, God.
She is a very attractive woman, but she's also a very good businesswoman, and she's a great heel, but she isn't great at this sort of stuff.
At inspiring, rallying speeches.
Stephanie, anyway. A darkly lit Bray Wyatt promo is how I like my days to start. Breakfast.
This is how I like to take my Bray promos.
Yeah, so what I do, I come downstairs, eat my breakfast. As I'm eating my breakfast, and my family getting ready for the day, and I'm wondering, what will I do? Some good television to start off the day well. I'd like a Bray Wyatt promo. That'd be awesome. I know it's twisted, but I'd take a creepy promo if they're all as excellent as is what this man gives us. That's what I go for. He brings up that Ambrose's daddy was a sinner like Ambrose himself. I hope they don't go down this track too much.
Oh, you mean like Jericho Punk went?
See, with Jericho does it because his character was more vindictive. Bray Wyatt, I don't like him like bringing this up over and over and over and over again. I just don't like it. But he does bust out some really good lines. He says that Ambrose hasn't seen real evil yet. Wyatt himself is sin encapsulated.
Yeah.
I know some people have grown jaded with these sort of promos, but man, I absolutely love them.
I will eat them up every day.
Like breakfast in the morning.
That's it.
So. John Cena versus Ryback, our main event of the evening. We've got Authority flanking Ryback as he comes out. I thought that this was a fairly decent match. Probably the best match on the show, I have to say.
I can actually agree with that.
Yeah.
I was like, they're actually like proper going on this match.
Yeah.
And like we've seen stuff from Ryback that we haven't seen in ages.
Yeah. It's
like some of his real this is his power. Like Ryback is a power guy, and like we haven't seen half that shit for a while.
Yeah. I mean, like when you look at it, and like it is the best Ryback match in probably 18 months, right?
Yeah,
more
not
likely.
hard to beat though.
But yeah, as I say, it's not that much to beat. It's not exactly like a who's who on fantastic matches that he's had. It's been a lot of really bad matches that just have been so boring. The whole Ryback sort of stint was nothing good for the guy. Constantly facing Cody Rhodes and Goldust week in after week out, just weeks upon weeks. But yeah, I thought this match was okay. I really did, and as you say, it's been ages since we've seen Ryback go through the ringer in a match and actually use some moves and have a little bit more freedom.
Like some of them had some real there was some I was about to say some power behind it, but then after just saying that Ryback's a power guy, but some actually sort of really quite interesting reversals actually.
Yeah,
just that play to his strengths.
Yeah, and I like the fact that, like I said, we've seen John Cena probably annihilate Ryback in a handicap match before. I'm pretty sure that happened. So that is a big stark difference between Ryback being a legitimate battle with John Cena here, and even at some points looking like he might actually have the thing won. It's just completely different, the way that they're booking this.
I mean, it definitely was. It was almost like a Lesnar match, almost, because it was like there was a lot of that match was all Ryback.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say it was like the beat down Lesnar gave Cena at SummerSlam.
But like it wasn't like it very rarely swung in Cena's favour.
Yeah, it was. Ryback definitely had his fair share of moments in this match. It's absolutely right. Like he had a lot of power moves here. He had John Cena under control. It made him look like a main eventer, which is quite weird considering he's been booked as completely against that over the last 18 months, right? So Kane over this, there's a few bashes here where Kane gets hit by Ryback, or he's trying to get through to Ryback or something like that, just not getting anything from that. Kane then interferes with the match, causes a DQ. Kane, as we know, is the master of interferences, so that's how it goes. Ryback hasn't got time for Kane's shit, as we have stated on this show.
Well, it's just like, because didn't Kane just like, I'm doing it because you couldn't get it done?
Yeah.
And it's like, really? Have you been watching the same match? Because apart from the fact that Ryback's just like not long been out of the STF, he's pretty much had all the offensive.
He was gearing up for the meat hook, wasn't he? At that time, yeah. So fair play. Like, he didn't look like he was losing the match by any means, and surviving much longer than he has been doing. So Rollins is trying to keep them separated, much like Triple H was trying to do that with Orton the week before.
Yep.
And then Ryback's like, I don't have time for your shit. I'm going to deck you.
Do you know what? Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Just take everyone out.
Yeah. Well, he decks Rollins first, then he gets kicked out of the ring by Candy Cane, because that's what he's not exactly, even Ryback back in his day, I'd still give him a chance, when he was being booked poorly against this Kane, because this Kane isn't that scary. A brawl ensues between Team Cena and Team Authority. I say brawl, but each member of Team Cena just comes out one by one to get annihilated.
Yeah.
It would make you think maybe they would wait at the ring, all bunch up together, and then go in, but no, apparently this was a better way of doing it, just going through and getting destroyed. Going through the school of teachings from Hideo Itami on NXT, but luckily he stopped that now, because he's got a friend. But,
yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does, yeah. But so when all this is going on, Ryback currently says, well, I don't like this. He comes in and basically decimates the entire Team Authority, gives Kane a well-earned shell shock, and I was like, hallelujah, thank Jesus Christ they did this. They didn't keep him heel. He's not heel yet, and they could still make him heel, but he just looks like a guy that they're trying to book like he's not on either side. He's just Ryback.
He is Ryback, the big free agent. Yeah. He is the big guy.
Yeah, and you know what? If he's not, like I said at the very beginning of the show, he's not afraid of the Authority. He kicked the shit out of him at the end of this match, and he doesn't like Cena. Cena doesn't pay his paychecks, so he's not gonna give Cena any of his time.
That's it.
So that's the way I reckon. Right, so. They haven't turned him heel. This isn't a heel turn for him, right? Obviously, considering he attacked every single member of the Authority, laying them all out, at the end of this match. So he definitely isn't joining them, right? It was only implied that he was joining them. Ryback never said, I'm joining the Authority. So, hopefully they book it. This is the reason why I've been saying, all the way through this podcast, Ryback ain't got time for anyone's shit apart from his own. I hope that's the way they book him going forward. He is Ryback. He's a big guy. He sees someone, he puts them down, doesn't matter who they're affiliated with. Yep. And that is the way that I would like for them to do it.
So, going on that, you'd like for him to stay the hell away from the Survivor Series match?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, it could be likely that he does join Team Cena, maybe, possibly. Maybe Team Authority tries to get back at him, so they make themselves an enemy of Ryback. So he's like, well, if I have to team up with Cena just to get a match with him, then that's what I'll do.
Yeah.
But they've got a chance here to not go to do something more than just going back to the regular Ryback. They could actually give us something a little bit better, a little bit more substantial. We could have the fusing of the smarky Ryback and the classic Ryback, and him not be a heel and be someone that could be like, well, this guy just doesn't take shit from anyone. Doesn't matter if you're face or heel, he will attack you. And I guarantee there is a space in that roster for a character like that. Let's hope that they can book it that way. Because we've been burned. You and me, Matt, we said Ryback could be the next big star that they have. He's gotten over with the crowd. And then they wrecked him. Hopefully they can. This is the shot. And a different type of Ryback. hopefully they can do something with it. Because
Yeah.
some people don't like Ryback because they think he's not good in the ring, and he hasn't had that many great matches. I think he's a lot better than some people give him credit for, but he isn't like on the level of some of the greats, right? Definitely not. Far beyond that. Far behind that, sorry.
Yeah.
But I want new stars. This guy is a big guy who has a base of a gimmick that is over. You know, fans chant "Feed me more." You can keep that. There's no reason to take that away from him. Keep it. It works. And the way that they booked him here was like he was the biggest, hottest commodity on the earth.
That's it. Everyone wanted Ryback on their team.
Yeah. Like, he was the biggest thing since sliced bread, that they needed Ryback, because Ryback was the game changer. I thought the way that they've treated the overall last 2 Raws have been really good. The overarching themes have been alright. Last week it was all about Orton being excommunicated from the Authority. I loved the way they did that. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah. Strong.
The way that they had the entire show to fix what could have been a disastrous Ryback heel turn, and in my opinion they went some way into doing that and actually maybe giving him some potential beyond that. Just hope they can follow through. So when you look at it that way, Raw, while this show wasn't that good, I'm just going to say right now, the actual in-ring wrestling was pretty piss poor over the entire show. And there was, for me, one too many backstage segments.
Yeah.
There's something that could be taken away from this that could be positive, and that's what I like to focus on. Are you under the same sort of thought, or is there anything else that you want to say about the... We do have another thing to talk about. There was another backstage ending.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you're missing or something.
Yeah. About Ryback, though.
About Ryback, no. I just hope they don't fuck it.
Yeah, that's the big fear,
like,
isn't it?
Simply enough. Like we don't... Like, I think since Batista left, we haven't had the dominant powerhouse. I mean, we've got Lesnar, but no, I wouldn't class Lesnar.
I don't class Lesnar. He's main event. He's marquee.
Yeah, he's we just need to put asses in seats and make a shitload in ticket sales. We'll get Lesnar.
Yeah. And signing Ryback is going to be a lot cheaper than Lesnar. I know there's a payoff for that, but you could make, if they would give a lot of time, you could make Ryback something, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe not the next Lesnar, because there's no way of knowing that, but he could be a ticket seller, you know?
Exactly. It's like I said, like the need for a big dominant powerhouse is there.
Yeah, definitely. And
I'm not comparing him to, like, I want him to go heel and we'd have, like, heel Batista, because I think heel Batista sucked.
And so did Vince McMahon, by the way.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I just hope they don't mess it. I think there's one thing that's safe to say, like, if he does get involved and he joins Team Cena's winning.
I don't agree.
It's a difficult one to call, because it's like, well, Team Cena's going to win, otherwise they'll be dicking Ryback's momentum. I mean, you've got Rusev, it's like, but Rusev's never lost, but he can still get disqualified.
Yeah, he can lose without taking a fall.
I think Rollins can afford to lose a match.
Or he could even walk out on Team Authority, and then they're screwed or something along those lines. I do think, like, we're going to go to predictions next week. I do think Team Authority will win, but it does seem like they've set a lot of stuff up for things maybe blowing up in their face. Maybe Rusev walks out, maybe Ryback comes in and attacks them, you know?
Yeah.
Because, you know, they have blasted. Maybe they'll come around and I say, actually, there was a reason why Steph blasted them, because Rusev is going to get the last laugh about it. You know, he's going to be like, well, you blasted my country. I'm not going to fight for you when you need me. Maybe that would be the case. But whether or not WWE, I mean, if they do that, that means they've made all these loose threads suddenly count. How many times have we had on a pay-per-view just tons of loose threads and they just get forgotten? And, like, I'd be forgiven for thinking that they aren't capable of doing that, but... One more thing, after that match, they had a backstage segment to end it. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon are watching the match, not happy with Ryback destroying their crew.
Yep.
And then Ziggler gets
single-handedly, one man, just like, meh.
Ziggler gets thrown into their couch, because he wasn't part of that beatdown in the ring. And Luke Harper shows up and says that he's a team player. Holla, holla. Well, he did say team player, but he said it like he should say holla, holla afterwards. It was a little bit quite weird, but...
Don't do the holla holla.
But didn't you think though? He said it with a little bit of a twang on it. I thought, wow, he's a player. Yeah, player. I just thought maybe they could, you know, maybe you could say I'm your man, or I'll do it, or I'll destroy them for you or something along those lines. But no, I'm a team player. I just thought that was...
And he just stands there tucking his thumbs into his waistcoat and just stands there staring at them, waiting for an answer.
Yeah, and then that's just the end of the show. But so essentially, he will be taking Ryback's slot. That was made because they had a full team before that, but he will take his slot.
5, yeah.
So that's the Liverpool show.
They can't have Cesaro because Cesaro decided to speak out against Cena Orton.
Oh, yeah, there you go. So yeah, he won't be involved at all. You just get jobbed. But there you go. Big travesty there. He's still in the running for worst the worst year, or wasted year award that we're going to give our end of year awards. He's still on track of getting that, but it's between him and Brian. But we'll get there when it comes to it.
Cesaro's is as a result of booking.
Yeah, Brian is as a result of being injured. Yeah. So that's the Liverpool show. The last match with Ryback and John Cena had a little bit to it, but I thought ultimately the show was one of missed opportunities. They had a lot of I thought you could give Paige a lot longer of a match, really play to that home strength. And there was a lot
I'd say you could give Paige a promo, but I don't think there would be a purpose to it.
I still think you could. I still think that'd be alright. Ziggler, who was treated like a hometown king, got a match that was not very good, and it wasn't very long. So I would say
you'd want him to deliver.
Yeah, you'd want to give him some time. I thought that the show opener was boring. I thought there was a few other boring matches. So in ring action, this Raw wasn't very good, and it was very filled up with backstage. I don't know, they did they traded it off. They had a lot of backstage stuff so they could give a lot of progression in terms of their main story. But then you look at other rivalries, not a lot was done with them. You thought maybe Wyatt and Ambrose would have something more, but they had, to the both of them, less than maybe a minute of promo time combined.
Yeah.
Which isn't good at all on a 3-hour show. So it makes you wonder.
Did Ambrose have a match?
No, he didn't. He didn't know that. I'm saying
that's it. He was just there for a promo.
Yeah, he was there for a promo. So was Bray Wyatt. There was nothing else.
Yeah.
I was very shocked at that. So when you look at it there, I mean, the show's actually quite thin. The reason why I think it had something to it is because it had an overarching story to it, which was Ryback. And
yeah.
it like I said, it made him feel like something special, like a free agent that everyone wants to snap up. But can that sustain a 3-hour show? Hell no, it cannot do that. Nothing to me can sustain a 3-hour show. 3 hours is just impossible. But we'll go there. So that's the show. So yeah, that's our Raw review. Do I give it a thumbs up? No, this week I give it a thumbs down. But I kind of go in the middle as well because
it's like a show.
Yeah, don't watch this week for wrestling, right? Because you won't get it. If you're into like character progression, especially if you at one point were interested in Ryback, then there is something to see here. But there isn't that much else. If you thought maybe, we're going to get a kick-ass promo off between Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose, that wasn't there. Are we going to get a kick-ass tag team match to maybe set up the tag team title match? No, because all we got was Miz and apparently Hornswoggle against Los Matadores, which isn't that good. So, yeah, it's really hard to really recommend the show, unfortunately. A lot of missed opportunities along those lines. However, talking about missed opportunities, I shouldn't have said that because this is going to make me sad now. My children will never be able to watch a genius like Eddie Guerrero in a ring. That's a missed opportunity, and we're going to talk about Eddie Guerrero now.
Yeah.
As the final part of this show. This hits hard to me. I remember the day. Don't know about you, Matt. I remember where I was and the hour that I learned that Eddie Guerrero was dead.
I don't know where I was, but no, I do.
The reason I do is because I was working a temp job at the time, and I was doing stock. And one of the friends that I had made there, who was also a wrestling fan, was working the shift after mine. So he came in a couple of hours afterwards and came to me and said, literally just very bluntly, Eddie Guerrero is dead. And I was like, did they maybe book him wrong, or has he got released for some crazy reason? No. Eddie Guerrero has passed away. He's dead. He's died.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I don't want to start off talking about Eddie Guerrero and his death, because that shouldn't ultimately overshadow his legacy, because he's much better than that. But the first thing that hit me, and I keep going back to time and time again, is that wrestling now would be better, a better place if Eddie Guerrero was still here.
Yeah.
Maybe he wouldn't be wrestling. Quite possibly he wouldn't be. But he was a genius. He was a guy who was on a different level cerebrally to a lot of guys that were in that industry. And I think he probably would have been one of the best agents or possibly even creative guys they could have had on there. Maybe even a manager, you know.
It could have worked. He could have given Vicky some reason.
Well, I don't think if Eddie was
exactly.
alive.
Now that I've just said that, it's just like would Nikki have been around?
I don't think she would have. No, she got in because Eddie had died and she needed a new source of income, and Vince was very good to her. Very good to her. In fact, he didn't have to do that, but maybe he felt, I mean, Eddie was a very well loved guy, and when you look at his death, I remember looking at an episode of SmackDown. Batista was the world champion, and at the time of his death, the rumor was that Eddie Guerrero was going to beat Batista in a couple of weeks to win back the belt as a heel. They had been bringing up the storyline of Eddie, being his friend on one side, but really secretly plotting his downfall on the other. And it was an intriguing storyline. But seeing Batista as this hugely jacked up guy, looking no more stronger than a boy at the age of 5, who learned his best friend had died.
Yeah.
Just breaking down in tears. That will stick with me for forever. It really will. Batista held nothing back. He was heartbroken, and he couldn't hold it back. He was destroyed. And you look at the likes of, some people may argue that Eddie Guerrero's death setting forward the motion of Chris Benoit's tragedy.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that Chris Benoit said in his journals to his father was that he saw Eddie in his dreams. Eddie was maybe the one thing that kept him from doing the stuff that maybe he would eventually do. Which is, I don't want to go too much into that because I don't want to go into what ifs or anything like that.
Don't you cry now.
Sorry, it's tough because I miss Eddie. I think this whenever I do think of Eddie, I do think of the fact that my kids won't be able to grow up and watch a guy as good as he was. Like,
yeah,
Eddie to me was a complete package. It didn't matter about his ethnicity, right? He was a great promo guy. He was funny when he needed to be. He was a fantastic heel when he needed to be. And on nights, he was unparalleled in terms of in-ring ability.
Yeah.
And storytelling, I remember some of his earlier years when he was in WCW. You didn't watch that much WCW, did you?
Not a great deal, no.
He was lighter in WCW, but he was just as good. What are the moments that you remember of Eddie Guerrero coming into WWE because he was part of the Radicals, came in with Malenko?
The thing is, my first part of Eddie Guerrero was ECW. Him and Dean Malenko.
Oh, yeah, the matches they had there.
Where suddenly when ECW were just like, we can't just be about chairs and barbed wire and fire, we have to have wrestling. And it's just Eddie and Dean Malenko, just such great matches. Just so technical as well.
Yeah, they had absolutely tons of amazing matches. Malenko and Benoit and Eddie as well would have brilliant matches.
Would go on to have great matches, yeah.
Yeah. The one moment that sticks out to me most recently, I mean, I think this is the most easiest one. It's played in all of his tribute videos. Is when he climbed to the top of the mountain. He beat all of his demons. He had a lot of drug and drink demons in his life, but he beat them. He won the WWE Championship.
Yeah.
Just at No Way Out. At just before WrestleMania 20, he won the world title against Brock Lesnar. Funny enough. And that match, I thought, sold such a great story. It was so many twists and turns, and everyone in that arena was just hoping that they could do it.
Because the story of what Eddie had gone through to get to that point, was shocking.
And I look back at when the Rhodes brothers got the victory over the Shield, and I thought that was a real great feel-good moment, and that was all storyline. But when he won that belt, everyone knew the troubles that Eddie Guerrero had done, and the way that he had managed to beat them. It was almost like it wasn't just Eddie winning that belt; it was everyone that had supported him winning that belt as well.
Yeah.
So it was such a big, and there's actual video of him hugging Vince McMahon, him so proud of himself that he managed to climb the mountain, and
That's it. That you were able to beat that.
yeah, and he didn't just beat Brock Lesnar to win the belt. He beat his demons to do so.
Yeah.
A credible feel good story, and that was quite real. I think a lot of other people that a lot of other things that people will associate him with is the lie, cheat, steal.
Oh yeah, of course, Viva la Raza.
Hitting the ground with a steel chair, falling over after chucking it at his opponent, and then getting his opponent DQ'd, is one of the all-time great comedy angles. I just love that, and it's a shame that we can't have that just randomly every now and then. I think the other thing that other people may remember him for, especially people like my wife who are generic wrestling fans, is when he was paired up with Chyna.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember when he was trying to woo her, shall we say?
That's it.
And then they had like the IC title in the mix, and that's where Chyna started winning the IC title. But he was bringing down flowers. She was his mamacita. Do you remember? Yeah. So,
oh god.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
kind of wish I didn't.
Yeah.
Cause I loved it. It was just like painful.
Yeah. Or maybe the other stuff that maybe he was involved with the Rey Mysterio child angle. Remember Dominic? I'm your papi.
I'm your papi.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
All this stuff.
There's one thing that I actually love is just like, wrestling's fake. Really? Watch this match of Eddie Guerrero versus JBL.
Oh yeah. Oh
What's
man.
this? What's this? That's fake blood.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Now what's that? A backstage segment? Look, whilst he gets his head stitched together.
Yeah.
Fake.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
It's not
man.
fake. It's scripted.
He was a different style of pedigree, wasn't he, Eddie? I just think that it's very rare that you can get a guy who could do comedy better than a Santino Marella, who was a comedy guy,
Yeah.
but who could wrestle better than a huge portion. I mean, 98% of that roster.
Oh god, yeah.
Maybe 99. I can't struggle to think of many people technically that were better than him when he was in his prime. So he was that good in comedy, but he was that good in the ring and storytelling. It's like he was a complete package. You could have built, especially in it when he beat his demons, won that belt. You're thinking to yourself, "Wow, if there was another company, I would want Eddie Guerrero to build an entire company around.
Yeah,
like he could give you everything you needed." And he's one of those guys like Jake Roberts. I would put in the same thing, that he acted on like a different level. Like his head, he understood wrestling far better than the majority of people ever
to tell the story. Yes.
Yeah. Just all that talent just lost. And you know what? It sucks. It really does suck that while he beat his demons, the demons that he beat ultimately got to him.
Still got him, yeah.
That's the real bad thing. That all the drugs he'd taken had basically worn out his heart, and his heart couldn't hack it one night, and he died. There is a podcast done with Jericho.
Jericho with Chavo, yeah.
With Chavo, where he recounts the moments where he found Eddie Guerrero's body. And it is chilling, it is uncomfortable, but I would state it is very worth listening to if you're a fan of Eddie Guerrero, because you can see that Chavo was just cut up. He just didn't know what to do. It wasn't a cousin to Eddie, he was his brother, you know?
Yeah.
You know, along those lines. And then, as I said, you go back and you go and watch some of the tribute videos. You see the likes of Batista laying the belt on the lowrider before leaving the arena.
Yep.
That will stick with me for a very long time. And it's been 9 years without Eddie. I think Eddie would be extremely proud of his wife. We said that when Vicky left the company, that she has done her husband proud, I would state. And when you hear the likes of his daughters trying to get into professional wrestling as well, and were released from WWE, but maybe they'll go and make their own way. His legacy will live on from people like, the new fans don't know who Eddie is, and that's a shame. But his legacy lives on because he was far greater than what an ordinary wrestler could be. He was just he was on a different level. And I really wish I could have seen to. Obviously, it's what ifs, and we don't want wrestlers to die. Obviously,
Oh, hell no.
But it makes you think: what could he have done with the likes of Batista? Maybe could he gone and had a match
I think
with...
he'd be done by now.
Oh, you'd be done that by now. But all I'm saying is the couple of years that you had.
Yeah, to have carried on.
Yeah,
for
to
that
carry
couple
on.
of-
Maybe
3 years afterwards. Yeah.
Maybe we could have seen an Eddie Guerrero Undertaker match. Could you imagine that? WrestleMania.
Oh, the
The
low
story
rider
that could-
versus the Harley.
Yeah, like, could you imagine the story to be told? I mean, by then Undertaker was back in his usual gimmick. But what I'm saying
Yeah.
is that like like a streak match against Eddie Guerrero, where he's built up as this real competitor, with the fire, the Latin fire, you know, Latino heat, you
That's
know.
it.
And the story they could tell, Eddie Guerrero could sell that match as if he's just literally milliseconds away from beating the Undertaker and stuff like
Yeah.
that. They could, maybe it wouldn't be a great match for story or anything along those lines, but it would be damn better than like the ones he had against Mark Henry, you know, leading up after
Yeah.
those ones. So, the Undertaker. So you could have better matches like that. Maybe further matches you could have had maybe with Shawn Michaels. At that time. It's tough to think about all the missed opportunities that they had there, but unfortunately with it. But let us know in the comments your favourite memories of Eddie. And 9 years this week he has passed away, just quite poignant this week. And maybe your favourite matches. Maybe you want to recommend some matches for me and Matt to go and watch involving Eddie. There is a bunch. There's almost hundreds of classics that this guy had. Hidden gems, I would state, that you could have that Eddie Guerrero has done in his career in both WCW, ECW, and WWE. Tons and tons of 5-star matches, just waiting to be found. It's like a treasure trove of Eddie Guerrero matches. So let us know any ones that are your particular favourites. Do you have anything out there to add this week?
No.
We've done very thorough work this week, Matt. I give you a pat on the back.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, very good, Matt. Los Matadores.
Shut up.
If you want to support the podcast, guys, as you are doing great at the moment, share it up on social media. You can like the video here. Follow us on @TalkWrestlePod. If you're new to the podcast, then please subscribe. We would like to have you along and ask us any questions you like in the comment section. Wow, I got through those plugs extremely quickly. I'm getting amazing at that at this point. But we hope you guys did enjoy this podcast. Next week will be our predictions for Survivor Series, and obviously we will talk about a few of the news and stuff like that. Me and Matt are still writing up our TNA battle plans for a way that TNA could start on our rise, but that will be an extra episode whenever we.
It's going to have to be.
We're going to be talking about length about that, I would say. What basically the whole theme of that is, if we got a blank check from a very well-known TV conglomerate, maybe like back in the days like Turner did with WCW, what would we do to TNA to make it a rival to WWE? And it's not as easy as buy all the WWE guys, because John Cena ain't jumping shit. But that that's for that extra, and that's probably going to be a lengthy one there, but we'll have that up soon. But apart from that, guys, we hope you have a great week. We will catch you guys next time, and we hope you guys enjoyed the podcast.
We'll catch you soon.
Bye bye.
Have a good one.